Hello guys, welcome to the fiction series. Today we are gonna see, what if Naruto x Bloom x Roxy x Stella? Part 3. If you want more awesome fanfiction like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So without wasting any time, let's get into the video. Althea, the next morning. We find Naruto and the girls sitting on benches, not at all happy with having to give the trick Stella's ring while Kurama was laying on Naruto's head. They were all now brainstorming how to retrieve Stella's family heirloom. Man, what are we going to do? Musa asked out loud, leaning forward with her elbows on her knees and her head resting on her hands. Yeah, how are we gonna get Stella's ring back? Asked Roxy, frustrated. We should probably just tell the authorities. It's the most logical route to take, said Tekna. I say we head over there, break into their room and take the ring back, Stella said with a determined look on her face. I agree with Stella, said Kurama fiercely. Stella, that's a terrible idea, said Flora aghast. Yeah, you could get in serious trouble, said Aisha. Guys, we can focus on getting the ring later after your classes, said Naruto. I'm gonna head out now. Today's a free day for me. Wait, I'll walk with you. I'm gonna head to the library, said Bloom. I need to talk to you about something anyway. Naruto gave a shrug as he said sure thing, and the two of them walked off, but not before Stella and Roxy gave him a kiss goodbye. The other occupants were shocked by Stella's behavior, but didn't say anything. Kurama snickered before he followed after them. As they were walking in the hall, Naruto asked, so what did you want to talk about? So, I've been having these dreams about this woman, said Bloom. She would appear in my dreams saying find me Bloom or my sweet Bloom, and I feel like I should know her, but it's just not clicking. How long have these dreams been happening? Questioned Naruto. It happened once after I awakened my powers, but I brushed it off, she replied, but ever since we came to magics, they've been occurring frequently. What do you think of this, Kurama? Naruto asked him. It seems that someone is trying to contact her, said Kurama, maybe someone related to her past? After giving a shrug, he then returned back to the seal. Naruto gave a nod at the idea, then said maybe he's right. But we don't have enough evidence right now. Bloom nodded at this, as Naruto asked her, so what are you going to the library for? I'm going to see if I can find her in any of the library books, Bloom told him. Hopefully I can find out who she is. They eventually reached the library, with Bloom kissing Naruto on his cheek and saying goodbye. Naruto then made his way outside, before stopping to think. Hey Kurama. How about we head to Cloud Tower and talk to the headmistress about getting the ring back? Thought Naruto. Yeah, that's probably the best route to take. Even though I think we should just beat those witches and take the ring back, replied Kurama in a battle-hungry tone. Shaking his head at Kurama's antics, Naruto made his way towards the transport bus. Cloud Tower 2 hours later. We now find Naruto standing at the front door of Cloud Tower. He gave a hard knock on the door and waited a few moments. There was a flash, before a projection of a woman appeared before him. She is very tall with pale greenish-white skin, and has a hooked nose. She has purple hair that is pulled up into a shape similar to that of pointy hats worn by fairy tale witches, with two lighter purple strands on either side. She wears heavy makeup around her eyes and wears an ankle-length dark purple dress with a high collar and dark purple shoes. May I know what you are doing in front of my school, young man? She asked with a stern tone. Hi, my name's Naruto. Are you perhaps Headmistress Griffin? Questioned Naruto. Yes, I am. May I know what you need from me? Griffin replied. If it is okay with you, can we talk in your office? He asked. Seeing no harm in humoring the boy, Griffin nodded. The projection disappeared and the doors opened up, letting Naruto in. He continued forward for a few minutes, before coming up to a wide open hall. There he saw Headmistress Griffin waiting for him. Greetings, Naruto. Let us move to my office for this conversation, said Griffin with a welcoming smile. Naruto nodded and followed her to the office. Griffin's office, 13 minutes later. We now find Ms. Griffin and Naruto sitting at her desk. Both are sipping some tea that was brewed beforehand. Now that we're comfortable, how about we get to what you came here for? She asked him. Nodding his head, Naruto retold the events of the day before. The tricks tricking Stella into a false date and capturing her. The confrontation between the Winx Club and the tricks over Stella, and the tricks' ultimatum. So you see, I just want Stella's ring back. It is a precious heirloom to Stella's family, and I would like to avoid conflict if possible, said Naruto at the end of his tale. Griffin thought about it and nodded. She then said, I can call Icy, Darcy, and Stormy here. They're the rowdiest of our seniors, which makes them difficult to control. You'll have to convince them to give the ring back with words or with force. Seeing Naruto nod in acceptance, she used the intercom to call the tricks to her office. 15 minutes later. The door to the office was opened, revealing the tricks in their casual outfits. Icy wore a light blue, backless tank top with a flared collar, a slightly darker blue miniskirt with a thin diamond-studded belt that hangs over it from her waist, and knee-high, bright blue, high-heeled boots. Darcy wore a lilac-colored top with a purple ring-like pattern that bears her midriff and is attached to a purple choker she wears around her neck, purple bell-bottom pants with a small split above her ankles which exposes a lighter-colored lilac area, and black heels with pointed toes. She also wears a small pair of yellow glasses. And finally, Stormy wore a fuchsia-colored crop top with no straps, as the only thing holding it up is its attachment to a matching fuchsia choker through the small metal ring that rests at the center of her top, a purple miniskirt that is tied to her waist, and matching purple sandals with high heels. You called for us, Headmistress Griffin? Questioned Darcy, not noticing the other occupant in the room yet. Yeah, we were kinda in the mid-hey, what's he doing here? Started Stormy before she noticed Naruto, bringing him to the attention of the other tricks. Young Naruto here has brought to my attention that little stunt you pulled yesterday, said Griffin. Thankfully his isn't here for any malicious reasons. He just wants the Solarian princess's ring back. Yeah, so just hand over the ring and we won't have any problems, spoke Naruto with a grin. No way. Why should we even give it back? Said Stormy in an angry tone. Indeed, you willingly gave us the ring, said Darcy with Icy nodding in agreement. Yeah, after you threatened my friend's life in exchange for it, growled Naruto with his eyes bleeding red, causing the tricks to flinch. He then calmed himself and said, how about this then? I'll fight you 3v1 and the winner gets to keep the ring. Is that acceptable? The tricks thought for a bit before nodding. Yeah, we'll take you on. And this time you won't be able to overpower us, said Stormy in an excitedly beepy tone. Icy and Darcy nodded in agreement with that sentiment. Turning to Headmistress Griffin, he asked, do you have somewhere for us to have our battle? Yes, of course. The combat classroom should be open right now. I'll even invite the students to watch. This will probably be a great learning experience for them, she replied, getting up and heading towards the door. The rest of the occupants nodded and followed behind her. Combat class, 15 minutes. They walked into the combat classroom, and Ms. Griffin asked the other teachers to bring all the students there for quite a show. She then took her seat among the students. Naruto and the tricks took their places on the battlefield. Standing near the field was the combat teacher, Ms. Goodwitch. She is a middle-aged woman that has very light blonde hair tied back in a bun with a curl hanging down the right side of her face. Her eyes are bright green and she wears thin ovular glasses. She has dangling teal earrings that match the hanging pendant on her collar. She wears a white long-sleeved, pleated top that has a wide keyhole neckline and gauntlet cuffs that flare in pleats at the wrist. Her lower body is covered by a black high-waisted pencil skirt with bronze buttons and black-brown stockings. She wears black boots with bronze heels and a cape that is purple inside and black on the outside. The cut of the cape is stylized to end in flames and arrows, with a row of diamond-shaped bronze beads on the back. Above this line of beads appears an emblem of a tiara that is her personal symbol. All right, students, today we have a special match today. She shouted out so that all the students could hear her. We have our top seniors, the Tricks versus our guest Naruto Namikaze. This fight will last until either side wins. Are both sides ready? Seeing Naruto and the Tricks nod, she shouts start. Dust these bitches, Naruto, shouted Kurama from the seal. Right. He thought. Shadow Clone Jutsu. One clone of Naruto appeared and dashed forward, while the original stayed back. The clone jumped, took a deep breath and unleashed a fireball jutsu at the Tricks, causing them to scatter. Sisters. Hit hard and fast. Bombard him before he has a chance to retaliate, shouted Darcy. The witches gathered energy for their spells and shouted. Cold Onslaught. Stormy Frenzy. Dark Nebula. Unleashing a combo of ice, mini storms and shadows onto the clone, causing an explosion that dispelled it. Once it cleared, they turned their attention to the main body, and saw him holding a purple sphere that was surrounded by several rings. Rasenringu! He shouted while chucking the sphere at them. Dark Thunder, Shadow Fire, Ice Dome! Shouted the three witches. Stormy and Darcy sent out attacks in response, while Icy brought up a protective dome. The techniques clashed, resulting in a massive explosion that kicked up a bunch of dust. Meanwhile, in the stands, a bunch of students were cheering on the Tricks. Two students in particular were having a conversation on the fight. One is a pale girl with freckles, gray eyes, and short burgundy hair that has a long blue streak in it, with a few beads separating it from the rest of her hair. She wears a frayed white shirt with a pumpkin decal in the middle, a gray shirt underneath that shirt, and a black vest that covers both. Her black skirt has a gray layer on it, and is held up by two belts, white and dark red respectively. She wears dark red leggings underneath the skirt. Her black boots are knee-high with gray straps on them. She also had on gray arm cuffs. The other girl has an elongated face and sharp, angular features. She has a thin, bony figure and stooped shoulders. Her eyes are a pale green. Her jagged, dark green hair falls to her waist, and her uneven bangs hang past her eyes in places. She wears an off-white tank top that reveals her midriff and a checkered green and purple miniskirt with a belt over green tights, as well as red fingerless gloves that cover most of her forearms. She also wears violet military-style boots. So who do you think will win, Lucy? Said the redhead. Obviously the Tricks. They're the strongest students in our school and they're not gonna lose to some random guy, said Lucy. I will admit that he's quite something though. Way better than that Helia pansy you're dating, Mirda. Hey, don't bad-mouth Helia. He accepted me even when he found out I am a witch, said Mirda, but back to the fight. I say that Naruto guy will give them a good fight and maybe even win. Lucy scoffs at this, but before she could speak a voice interjects. I must say that I agree with young Mirda. Lucy and Mirda then turned to see Headmistress Griffin was sitting next to them. I believe that Naruto has an ace up his sleeve and that he's waiting to put it into play. Back on the field, the dust clears and Icy brings the ice dome down. The Tricks are greeted to the sight of an empty field. Where is he? Shouted Stormy. She then feels something grab her heels. Looking down, she sees two hands attached to her heels. She is then pulled underground and Naruto emerges, leaving her buried up to her head. Earth style, double suicide decapitation technique. As Naruto came out of the ground in front of them, with a grin on his face. He then turned his attention to Darcy, thrusting his hand forward and unleashing a Chidori stream which disables her. Icy, seeing her sisters fall so easily, stomped her foot on the ground, releasing a wave of ice to put some distance between her and Naruto. Naruto backflips, then uses a spike of ice to balance and propel himself toward Icy. He summons 6 shadow clones, which surround him and shout, "Transform!" which caused a big cloud of smoke to appear. Icy was on guard, ready for anything to come out of the smoke. Her guard was broken, however, when she was greeted to the sight of naked men, with a naked Naruto in the middle. They all spoke with heavenly voices. Sexy reverse harem jutsu. Hey there, Icy. Hi! Shouted Icy, her face going crimson. She faints, with steam coming out her ears and swirls in her eyes. Naruto cancels the transformation and his clones, saying, "Looks like I win. I'll be taking that ring back now." Darcy groans, before pulling out the ring and saying, "Just take it." It wasn't even that helpful anyway, as she then tossed it towards him. He caught it and turned to the crowd. All the students and teachers were amazed that he beat the tricks, with some of them blushing at how he beat Icy. "The winner is Mr. Namikaze," shouted Glinda with a tick mark and a blush. Naruto was then approached by Ms. Griffin, who said, "Well, congratulations, Mr. Namikaze. I must say that was a very unorthodox way of winning this match, but amusing nonetheless." She then turned to all the students, "Ladies, let this be a lesson to you. There will always be someone out there who is stronger and smarter than you. Don't let yourself stagnate. Always find ways to improve." All the students nodded their heads at her advice. "Thank you, Ms. Griffin, for that helpful tidbit," said Glinda. "Now, girls, class is now over. You can all return to your dorms, and can someone please take the tricks to the infirmary?" The girls nodded and began to clear out, some of them carrying Icy, Stormy, and Darcy away. Naruto then turned around, and was about to leave before he heard someone say, "Please wait, Naruto." Turning around, it was revealed to be Mirta with Lucy following behind her. "Oh hey. Was there something you needed?" he questioned. "Oh, my name's Mirta and this is my friend Lucy," she said. "We just wanted to say congrats on your win." "Totally. I never expected someone to take down the tricks so effortlessly," said Lucy. "Also, I'm pretty sure all the students here got some great blackmail on them. So thanks for that." She put up her fist, with Naruto bumping his fist against hers. "Yeah, it was nothing. I just wanted to get back my girlfriend's ring that they stole," he explained to them. Humiliating them was just a bonus. The girls snickered at this. "Ha, nice. Hey, do you work at Althea by any chance?" asked Mirta. Seeing him nod, she continued, "I have a friend there. Her name's Flora. Do you mind telling her Mirta said hi? I haven't been able to talk to her in a while." "Sure, no problem," he replied. "Anyway, I should get going. Have the rest of the day to myself, so I'm going to head into the city for a while." He then bid them farewell and made his way home. Naruto's house, 6 hours later. It was now evening time and we find Naruto and Kurama laying on the couch. They had come back from the city an hour ago and decided to take a nap. During his time in the city, he decided to change his hairstyle. He had the stylist grow it out a bit and pushed back, with 2 strands hanging in front of his face. 1. He had tried calling any of the girls to tell them he had the ring, but none of them responded. "Yawn man, that was a good nap, huh, Kurama?" said Naruto, as he stretched himself. Kurama stretched himself, before he replied, "You said it, brat. I have to thank you again for finding a way for me to leave the seal." "No need to thank me, buddy. What are friends for?" replied Naruto. He then heard his cell phone ringing and picked it up, seeing Miss Farragonda on the caller ID. "Hello?" "Hello, Naruto. Do you think you can come to my office immediately?" asked Farragonda in a serious tone. Wondering what was wrong, he said, "Sure, I'll be there in 30 minutes. He then hung up and turned to Kurama, saying, "Hey buddy, Farragonda wants me in her office. Let's go." He then grabbed his coat, while Kurama hopped on his shoulder. They left through the front door and made their way to Althea. Farragonda's office, 30 minutes later. Naruto couldn't help but palm his face and drag it down after hearing what he just heard. Kurama was on the floor laughing at the situation. All he could do was stare at Farragonda and Griselda, then at the Winx who were in the room. It turns out the girls decided to follow through with Stella's idea of getting the ring back. They had snuck into Cloud Tower through the tunnels underneath the schools, which probably explained why his calls didn't reach them. They then found the Trix's room and searched for the ring. They eventually ended up stopping, realizing that it wasn't there. They had decided to leave, But Bloom thought it was a good idea to check out the library there, trying to find out who that woman was in her dreams. They were caught by Headmistress Griffin, who then reported them to Farragonda. I thought we agreed that breaking in was a bad idea, said Naruto. And even if you did go through with it, I at least expected some of you to stop them. Sorry, but you know what they say. If you can't beat M, join M, said Aisha, rubbing the back of her head. Flora and Musa nodded in agreement. Tekna, what happened to taking the logical route? Questioned Naruto. Sorry. Ever since I began hanging out with you guys, I've been acting illogical and have lost control of my emotions. You guys have that effect on me, she said, blushing. Sighing, Naruto turns to Farragonda and Griffin and asks, so what is their punishment? And Kurama stopped laughing. Kurama ceased his laugh, taking a deep breath to collect himself. I'm sorry. But wow, you guys really funked up, Kurama said. Language, scolded Griselda, and for their punishment, we've decided to revoke their magic. In addition, they'll be cleaning the entire school tomorrow after classes finish. Farragonda then waved her hands and sent out a light which entered the girls, binding their powers. I hope you girls will learn your lesson from this, said Farragonda with an unhappy look on her face. Now head to your rooms and think about what you've done. The girls gave nods of their heads, all with downcast looks on their faces. They all left, with Naruto and Kurama following behind them. But not before Naruto inscribed a Horatian seal on the inside of the office. Winx Cluster, 10 minutes later. Man, this sucks. No magic and we have to clean the whole school, said Aisha with a sad tone. At least we weren't expelled, said Flora, with optimism in her voice. Yes, Headmistress Farragonda was quite merciful with that, replied Tekna. Hey Bloom, did you find out what was so special about the ring? Questioned Roxy. Apparently it is one of the many things blessed with the power of something called the Dragon Flame, replied Bloom. Miss Farragonda to me that apparently it's the leftover power of the great dragon deity which created the magic dimension. Naruto narrowed his eyes at this. Kurama, you thinking what I'm thinking? Thought Naruto. It's possible. But we don't have any evidence yet, so keep quiet for now, replied Kurama. And now I'm kinda regretting doing this. I mean, we didn't even find the ring, said Stella. Frustrated. Ho? You mean this ring, said Kurama, as Naruto pulled out the ring of Solaria. All the Winx had their jaws drop in shock. But. Who? What? When? Why? How? Said Bloom confused. Yes, so, I decided to head to Cloud Tower and speak with the headmistress about getting the ring back. She brought the tricks to her office and suggested that if they didn't willingly give it back, that we could bet on it in a fight. Spoke Naruto. I obviously won, while humiliating them in front of their classmates. Oh Flora, your friend Mirta said hi and sorry for not being able to check up on you. Also she sent me a recording of my fight. He pulled out his phone and played the video. The girls watched it all the way to the end, impressed by Naruto's performance. They blushed madly at his finishing move, though. What can I say? Seduction is a great tactic to take down an enemy, said Naruto, shrugging his shoulders. Haha, their faces at losing were priceless. The audience was so shocked that their toughest students were taken out so easily, said Kurama, giggling. I tried calling you guys to tell you I got the ring back, but no one picked up, said Naruto. So, can I have my ring back? Said Stella, reaching for it, but pouted when Naruto shoved it back into his pocket. Nope. As an added punishment, you'll get the ring back when you get your powers, said Naruto. But I do promise to help you guys clean tomorrow. Are you sure there's no way for me to convince you otherwise? She said, pressing herself against him and using the dreaded puppy eyes technique. Must not give in. Must resist. He thought while blushing. Nope. Good night, girls. He quickly kissed Bloom, Stella and Roxy goodbye, waving to the rest, and flashed back home for bed. Naruto's training ground, the next day. It was afternoon time. We now find Naruto about to sparring with Timmy, while Kurama was acting as referee for the spar. They stood across from each other, both armed. In Timmy's right hand was a two-handed silverish black great sword, with a blue gem embedded into the hilt, too. The silver of the blade has a yellow outline. In his left hand was an ethereal teal dagger with a gray grip, 3, held in a reverse grip position. Strapped to his waist were 5 identical daggers, along with a black and gray sheath for his sword. The sword's name was Ba'amung, named after the sword of the dragon hero Siegfried. The daggers were named the Fangs of Fafnir after the dragon Siegfried slayed. The blue gem in the hilt stored Timmy's mana over time, and allowed him to release small shockwaves of mana. The blade's full power was locked away by 2 incantations, which Naruto trusted Timmy not to abuse. In Naruto's hands were a pair of golden twin blades. The name of these blades were Enki, for they doubled as bladed tonfas and an energy bow. The blade's full power was also locked away behind an incantation. The two boys stood across from each other, keeping their eyes trained on their opponent. They were dressed in t-shirts and shorts. Kurama then yelled, "Fight!" Sakukaja! Tarakaja! Timmy double-casted, as red and green magic circles appeared under him, boosting his attack power and speed. He then sped forward with Naruto doing the same. Clang! 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 Those were the sounds that echoed through the field, as the boys clashed with each other. Naruto hammering down heavy slashes, while Timmy deflected with his dagger and countered with Ba'amung. They separated and Timmy thrust his hand forward shouting "Debilitate!", causing a magic seal to appear under Naruto, lowering his physical parameters. Naruto, realizing he was weakened, jumped back, summoning 4 shadow clones to charge Timmy. Sheathing his sword, Timmy used telekinesis to levitate his daggers, rotating them into a circular pattern. He began to punch the daggers, using his telekinesis to redirect them at the clones and dispel them. He then ducked out of the way from a projectile and saw Naruto with Enki shifted into its bow form. Naruto then charged his chakra into the bow and let loose 12 arrows, all speeding towards Timmy. In response, he holstered his daggers and drew Ba'amung. He shouted "Ba'amung!" and let loose a yellow shockwave that clashed with the arrows, resulting in a huge explosion. While this was going, Kurama was observing the fight with great interest. I must say Timmy has improved greatly under Naruto's tutelage. And those stat spells are ingenious. Who would think video games would be helpful in a fight, he thought. The sword and daggers are also great additions, since he can use them for close range or switch to longer range by levitating and punching them. Had punching swords, who else could have come up with such a unique style? In a realm far away, we find a man running away from a woman brandishing a large purple and white spear. The man had gray hair and wore black-rimmed glasses, while the woman had long white hair with purple accessories in it. He suddenly stopped. This feeling. Yes, someone has also discovered the genius of punching swords as projectiles, he said with pride swelling within him. Sigurd! Shouted the woman who suddenly appeared behind, with her spear raised. Oh shit! Sigurd shouted, raising his hands to guard his face. Naruto's training field. As the dust cleared, Naruto and Timmy were revealed to have small scrapes from the explosion. Timmy then said "Diorama?" covering himself in a green aura that healed his wounds. Naruto's wounds also began to heal because of his healing factor. Hey Naruto, how about one last attack? Suggested Timmy, wanting to end the spar soon. Sure thing, Naruto replied with a shrug. He dismissed Enki and clapped his hands together, entering Sage mode. He then began to create a Rasengan, but it began to increase in size until it was the size of a large boulder. Timmy began to glow yellow and a yellow magic seal appeared under him. He levitated Ba'amung and his Fangs of Fafnir, the daggers rotating around the sword. He chanted the first incantation, His eyes glowing a fierce yellow let these blades cleave through the darkness and fill the world with twilight. He threw rapid-fire jabs at the daggers and sword, launching them forward. Naruto rushed towards the incoming projectiles, thrusting the Rasengan forward and clashing with them. Timmy dashed ahead, charging his fist with mana and striking the hilt of his sword. Sage Art, Massive Rasengan. Heaven's Wheel of Destruction. The resulting explosion shook the entire house as their attacks clashed together, while causing a huge cloud of smoke and dust. Kurama was knocked off his feet by a gust of wind, which sent him tumbling back a few feet. The dust cleared, revealing a huge crater, with Naruto and Timmy in the middle. Both sported some major scrapes and burns. Ow, 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 ow. Why did we do that? Cried Naruto as he rolled around in pain. Oh, this was such a bad idea. I can't feel my arms, groaned Timmy, trying and failing to move. They heard footsteps and saw Kurama approaching them. Stupid brats throwing around high-level techniques in such a closed-off space. You're both lucky. Naruto remembered to reinforce his house and the basement with seals, he said, as he shook his head. He then tapped both of them, covering them with a cloak of his chakra to heal their wounds. Both boys got up and stretched, feeling re-energized. Thank you, Kurama, said Timmy. Yeah, thanks, bud, said Naruto. Bah, stupid kids. I'm gonna take a nap in the seal, he said and disappeared in a flash of light. Welp, that's enough training for today, said Naruto, heading upstairs, with Timmy following behind. Yeah. I gotta say you are way tougher on me than Professor Kototorta is, Timmy said. That reminds me. I made something else for you besides those blades. Reaching into his pocket, he pulled out a wristband with a yellow gem on it and tossed it to Timmy. Timmy slid it on his wrist. Thanks, man, but what is it for? Questioned Timmy. Channel some of your mana into the gem and see what happens, replied Naruto with a smirk. Doing what he said, Timmy is covered in a flash of white. When it dies down, he is wearing a new attire. He's clad in a black armor with gray accessories, gloves, and boots. He has a face mask covering the lower half of his head. Attached to his back is a purple cape. 5. Whoa! Awesome! Timmy said, walking to a mirror and inspecting the armor. That is my gift to you. I have some for the other guys, with special swords as well, Naruto told him. I was able to give the armor's form using some high-priced dragon hides. So they're sturdy and have high magic resistance. He handed him 3 small rectangular boxes. These have the wristbands and instruction manuals on their swords. Make sure they don't use the full power all willy-nilly. Totally. And thanks again for the armor, man, said Timmy with a cheeky smile. Anyway, I'm gonna head out. I got a date. Ho? Who is the lucky lady? Said Naruto, wiggling his eyebrows. Timmy blushed and replied, I actually don't know. It's a blind date Riven set me up on. Well, I hope it goes well. You deserve someone special, said Naruto. I'm gonna head to Althea. I promised the girls I'd help them clean the school. Timmy nodded at that. They both got changed and headed out, with Naruto locking the door behind him. Althea, 30 minutes later. We now find Naruto and the Winx with Ms. Griselda. Alright, ladies, you have a lot of ground to cover, Griselda explained to them. She then used magic to make mops, brooms, and buckets full of water appear. You will be using these to clean up the entire school, from top to bottom. Man, and there was a concert tonight. Can't believe we're gonna miss it while the whole school is going, complained Musa. The other girls nodded in agreement. What they didn't know was that Naruto was sending a clone to go to the concert, and to record it for the girls to watch later. Tekna took out her computer, and started typing on it, saying what fascinating equipment. I must look up how they operate. Hey, as Griselda used magic to take her computer away from her. She sternly said no technology allowed at all. Now, get to it, ladies, as she clapped her hands to get them to start working. Also, thank you, Mr. Namikaze, for volunteering to help them. No problem, Ms. Griselda, replied Naruto. Seeing Griselda walk away, he turned to the girls. All right. I'll be sending 2 of my clones with each of you to help out in your areas. Clones? Questioned Aisha, having never seen his shadow clone jutsu before. Oh yeah? He replied. Spawning 2 clones, he said basically. They are great for grunt work. They're also a great training/learning tool as well, since when they dispel I get their memories. Oh come on, that's just not fair, complained Musa. That's a broken skill if I ever heard of one, with all the other girls nodding in agreement. Chuckling, Naruto replied, yeah it is. But thankfully I'm the only one who can abuse it. He then summoned 14 clones. Alright. Bloom, you'll handle the kitchen. Stella and Aisha handled the bathrooms. Musa, Tekna and Roxy, you'll be cleaning up the classrooms. And Flora, you'll be with me cleaning the showers. Everybody understands? They all nod in acceptance. And maybe after we're done, we can invite Sky and his friends to party, Naruto said with a smile. They cheered and everyone made their way to their assigned locations. Main hall, 2 hours later. It was now nighttime. We now find Naruto and the Winx in the main hall finishing up the cleaning. Just as they finished, they saw Timmy, Riven, Sky and Brandon walking in with snacks and drinks. Hey guys, did someone order a party? Exclaimed Sky as he was holding some drinks. Brandon had some bags of food, while Riven was holding some speakers for some music to dance to. Timmy brought a laptop to connect to the speakers, and with them was another person. He has blue eyes and long black hair tied in a ponytail that drapes over his shoulder. He wore a light green poet's shirt with beige khakis. He has beige slippers on. In his hands was a sketchbook and a pen. Also guys, this is Helia, Timmy told them as he put the laptop onto a table. Riven put the speakers on the ground, on either side of the table. He was recently added to our squad and we wanted to introduce him to you guys. He's kind of a loner, so be nice. Greetings everyone. Thanks for having me here, said Helia. Naruto walked forward and took Helia's hand, shaking it. Hey man, it's nice to have you here. Hope you have fun. He then turned to the other occupants and shouted, so who's ready to party? He received a loud cheer in response from everyone. Play Party Up by Brandon Michael Smith. So they partied and partied. Naruto did his personal dance with Stella, Bloom and Roxy. They all then formed a dance circle and did their freestyle dancing in the center. Tekna doing the robot, Aisha doing some gymnastic dance moves and Musa did some ballerina moves. Stella did a salsa dance, Bloom and Roxy doing hip-hop moves and Naruto doing the moonwalk. Sky, Brandon, Timmy and Riven did a group dance, consisting of the cha-cha slide. Helia stood off on the side, sketching pictures of everyone dancing and partying. Bloom noticed him and approached him asking to see his work. She was very surprised at the detail in his drawings. They then struck up a conversation about the types of art they liked. Song end. Alfea main entrance, at the same time. A portal opened up revealing the tricks in their witch forms. Peppa was clinging to Icy's shoulder, cuddling her. Those stupid fairies dare break into our room. Well, I won't have it, said Darcy, furious. Yeah, let's give them a surprise they'll never forget, said Stormy fiercely. She moved to go looking for them but was stopped by Icy, who showed her a fancy-looking crystal. Wait, look, my vacuum is reacting. That means the dragon flame is somewhere in Alfea, Icy told her. She then pointed down the hall, where they heard laughing. Also, it looks like there are people still here. We'll have to distract them while we search for the dragon flame. The other 2 nodded in acceptance. We can summon some ghouls along with a Cretan minotaur to keep them busy, recommended Darcy. Nodding in agreement, all 3 witches combined their magic to summon 24 ghouls and 1 big blue beast with horns and red hair. You all will head in the direction of that laughter and keep whoever's there occupied, commanded Icy. The ghouls and the Cretan minotaur turned in the direction of the laughter and walked towards where the party was happening. Icy turned to Stormy and Darcy and said, "All right, sisters, let's get searching." They followed her in the opposite direction. Back in the main hall, the group of friends continued to party and play the night away, eating snacks or just dancing to their heart's content. Naruto and Bloom were having a private conversation away from the group. "So did you ever get any info on that woman from your dreams?" questioned Naruto. "Well, that's the thing, I couldn't really find anything. But before we got caught at Cloud Tower, she appeared before me and revealed that her name was Daphne," replied Bloom. "That's all, though I wish I knew how she's connected to me." "Well, don't stress yourself out. I'll look into it as well and maybe we can find something out," said Naruto, giving her a reassuring smile. Suddenly they heard a horde of footsteps approaching. Turning around, they were greeted to the sight of Cretan Minotaur and 24 ghouls scurrying into the main hall. The Cretan Minotaur went further down the hall. "Shit, how'd they get in here?" asked Riven, startled by the monster's arrival. "Doesn't matter, we need to get rid of them before they wreck the school. And we just cleaned it too," said Musa with determination. "She's right," said Naruto, summoning Enki and shifting them to their Tonfa form. He turned to the girls, "Arm yourselves and gang up on the Minotaur. Outsmart him and take him down. Helia, you help them." The girls and Helia nodded, running off with broomsticks and other tools to fight the Minotaur. He turns to the rest of the guys, "All right, guys, break in that new gear I gave you." "Yeah!" they shouted as they activated their wristbands, bathing them in white light. It died down, revealing them with their new armor and weapons. Brandon was wearing the standard armor of a knight. The armor parts are silver in color, while the tunic's part is blue. He also has a black and white hood attached to the back of the armor part of his neck. 6. In his right hand was a European longsword with a blue hilt and golden guard with blue etchings in it. It had a holy cross design at the base of the blade. 7. This was Excalibur Young. A gold and blue sheath was attached to his waist. Riven also wears the standard armor of a knight. It is identical to Brandon's armor, but pitch black with red etchings all over it. Over his eyes was a black and red visor. 8. In his left hand was a European longsword with a pitch black hilt and guard with red etchings in it. The blade was pitch black with red markings on it. 9. This was Excaliburine, the sister sword of Excalibur Young. A red and black sheath was attached to his waist. Sky was clad in silver armor with floral patterns over his black and dark blue overalls. On his back was a blue cape with gray fur and gold design along it. 10. Held with both his hands was European longsword with a dark gray hilt and no guard. The blade was pure silver. 11. This was Excalibur Sunbright, a blade which harnessed the power of the sun. "All right, Timmy, buff us," shouted Naruto, receiving a nod from Timmy. "All right, Dragon, hustle," he yelled as a golden magic circle appeared under the group, boosting their attack power, defense, and speed. Sky dashed forward, gathering mana into his blade and shouting, "Solar Flare!" blinding the ghouls with a flash of orange light. When it died down, Riven and Brandon stood at opposite sides of the horde of ghouls. Fierce winds gathered around their blade and they shout, "Strike air, hammer of the Vile King! Strike air, hammer of the Wind King!" Shooting out a gust of black and white winds that clashed, destroying half of the ghouls and sending the rest into the air. Naruto and Timmy jumped into the air, both releasing reverse slashes with their swords/daggers, taking out 6 more ghouls. Sky appeared underneath the ghouls, his blade glowing a fierce orange and a mini sun appearing at the tip. "Cruel sun!" he shouted, throwing the sun at the rest of the ghouls, burning them to ash. "Whew, glad that's done," said Riven, before looking at his and the others' armors. "I gotta say, I thought the whole night theme was lame, but these armors are sweet." "Yeah, the swords are a nice touch too," said Sky. "Yeah, and each has a personal incantation to release the full power. Only use it when you have no other choice," said Naruto. "All right, now let's go join the girls and Helia." They nodded and ran in the direction of the others. Dance hall, 10 minutes later. We find the Winx and Helia surrounding the Minotaur. So far they had been dodging its wide swings. It takes a huge swing at Helia, who ducks and uses his laser string glove to grab its club and disarm it. Okay guys, some of us need to disorient and occupy it, while some of us attack it, shouted Helia. The girls nodded in understanding. Flora grabbed some rope that was lying around and used it as a makeshift whip. She rapidly struck at the beast's legs, causing it to kneel. Tekna, Musa and Aisha grabbed the buckets of dirty water and splashed it in the face, causing it to let out a roar from losing its sight. Stella, Roxy and Bloom, armed with broomsticks, charged forward. Bloom struck the Minotaur in its stomach, with Roxy smacking it in the face and Stella landing a fierce blow on the back of its neck. The beast fell backwards, groaning from the pain, and appeared to stop moving. Who we got? I am not really used to this much physical activity, said Tekna, looking a little tired. You said it. I just want this night to end now and go to sleep, said Aisha. Let's just wait for the guys to bind up the Minotaur and oh shit, Flora behind you, shouted Musa as she saw the Minotaur get up and reach for her friend. Grapha! It roared, raising its arm to swing down on Flora. They then heard a voice shout, Garala! A black-colored gust appeared, propelling the Minotaur into the air. Naruto then came crashing down on the beast with a blue sphere, shouting Rasengan, slamming it into the ground, knocking it unconscious. He then sprouted 6 golden chains and binded the Minotaur. The other guys showed up afterwards. That was a close one. You okay, little Cinnabon? Questioned Naruto with a grin. Yeah, I'm fine, thank you, Naruto, she replied, blushing. She then noticed the guy's armor and whistled. Nice armor, guys, as Helia and the other girls nodded in agreement. But seriously, where the hell did those monsters come from? Questioned Riven. The group then heard the sound of little footsteps. Turning around, they saw a little purple duckling waddling into the hall. The duckling saw Naruto, recognizing him from the photo Icy kept, and said, Daddy. He waddled all the way to Naruto and began cuddling his legs, saying Pepe loves Daddy over and over. The girls cooed at the adorable scene. Naruto picked up Pepe and said, Well, little duck, where's your mommy? Mama Icy is somewhere around, he replied in a cute tone. Mama Icy! Everyone else shouted, while Naruto chuckled. Of course. You're from the egg we gave her last time. Who would have thought you'd come out as such a cutie, he cooed, tickling Pepe. Of course the tricks sent them. But how are we gonna find those witches? Said Musa. Tekna snapped her fingers and replied, We could go to the headmistress's office and check her crystal ball to find them. That's a good idea, said Timmy. The others nodded in agreement and made their way to the office. Faragonda's office, 15 minutes later. As the group were coming up to Faragonda's office, they saw the Trix trying to open the door to Faragonda's office. Hey Trix! Shouted Bloom, getting their attention. Damn it! What happened to the monsters we sent? Stormy screamed in frustration. Hey Icy, why didn't you tell me I was a father? Asked Naruto with a foxy grin. Awkward silence. Yhhh! Screamed Icy. What are you saying? We don't have a child. Her face went full crimson, while Darcy and Stormy gave her weird looks. Yeah, we do. Little Pepe here, he said, pointing to the little duckling. This is a big step in our relationship. We'll have to put aside our differences to raise the little guy. I never expected to be a parent so soon, but I'm willing to make the sacrifices if you are. His friends behind him began to laugh at Icy's expense. Shut up. Stop doing this to me. Getting me all flustered and embarrassed, said Icy, trying and failing to keep her blush down. And give me back Pepe. She walked over, taking the duckling from him. The door to Faragonda's office opened, revealing the headmistress herself. She surveyed the 3 groups in front of her before saying, And just what are all of you doing here? Naruto then told her of the recent events after they finished cleaning. After hearing what he had to say, she turned to the tricks. You girls should be ashamed of yourselves. Attacking the school for petty revenge. Headmistress Griffin will be hearing about this. She waved her hands and teleported them back to Cloud Tower. Turning to the rest of the group, she said, firstly, I want to thank you boys for helping the girls. I'll be sending Headmaster Saladin a letter of thanks. The boys bowed in response. She turned to the girls now. I've looked at this situation as a whole. And so, I will not reprimand you. This evening's event has shown that you can handle difficult situations intelligently, creatively, and without magic. And so, I will give you back your powers. Your punishment has lasted long enough. She snapped her fingers, releasing the binds on the girl's magic. Now why don't you kids head to bed for the day? The group nodded and exited her office, bidding her good night. Before Sky's group could leave, Naruto stopped everyone. Me and Kurama have decided to induct you into our training group. We meet 3 times a week after classes. Be prepared for hell, said Naruto with a cruel smirk. Roxy, Bloom, Flora and Timmy flinched at his smile. They then bid farewell to the specialists and Naruto, with Naruto getting a kiss goodbye from Stella, Bloom and Roxy. When the guys reached outside, Riven commented, You're a lucky bastard, you know that. Yeah, I know, said Naruto with a blush and a cheeky smile. Anyways, you guys get home safely. He waved goodbye to them and flashed home for bed. Magic's 1 month later. It was now November of 2016, a month after the Tricks attacked the school. This past month Naruto and Kurama have been hard at work training with the Winx and Sky's group. Naruto had to get Musa, Tekna, Stella and Aisha up to par with Bloom, Roxy and Flora. He had made sure to take away Stella's ring during training so she didn't use the boost it gave her. He put them through the works, giving them all types of exercises to do repeatedly and sparring with them in CQC. For weapons training, Naruto had gathered samples of magic from Tekna, Aisha and Musa to create weapons for them. For Musa, a set of black gauntlets and greaves with a somewhat animalistic look. The gauntlets vaguely resemble a wolf's head, with fangs and mane. The greaves look like clawed legs. They also have glowing veins that have purple light flowing through them. This was Beowulf 1. It gives Musa a speed boost while running, while also emitting sonic light attacks when punching or kicking. In addition, she had a purple, one-neck guitar with many electric strings and some skeletal-looking features. It hides or cloaks a 3-pronged scythe underneath, which is basically folded into it. This was Nevan 2. It also can fire off purple bats and electric bolts when played. For Tekna, were 4 purple and silver guns. They are based on a parabellum pistol in design, though the barrel has been heavily modified to accommodate melee-based combat. Attached to the underside of each pistol's grip is a little plush cat, with each one corresponding to one of the 4 primary characters in the literary work, The Three Musketeers. 3. She held 2 in her hands, while the other 2 were attached to the back of her heels. This made for a weird and unique fighting style that allowed her to fire off rounds in CQC and from a long distance. And finally for Aisha, a deep blue trident with white gems embedded along it. This was Riptide. It allowed her to draw water from the atmosphere and plants to attack. She could also throw it like a javelin and have it returned to her. Training the girls how to use their new weapons took Naruto quite a while. Fortunately, since Aisha was the most fit and active, it didn't take as long to get her fitness level up. And she wielded the trident like a professional. When he questioned her, she told him that she used to play with a toy one when she was a child. Besides weapons, he also helped them develop their magic abilities. With Musa, he remembered the invasion during his Chunin exams and the sound shinobi he met and how they fought, so he told her to try and use her sound to set people off balance. She also developed a sonic cry that had enough force to send a car flying. With Aisha, he wrote down some water-style techniques from his scrolls for her to use. He had her practice drawing water from her surroundings as well. She also experimented with her morphic spells. For Tekna, he told her to try and copy some moves from some of the games that they've played together, and see if they worked for real. He also wrote down some lightning techniques that she would find useful. For Stella, he didn't know any moves that dealt with sunlight. So he just told her to read some books and watch some TV to get some ideas and inspiration. Naruto was an absolute slave driver in training the girls, as well as the specialists. He'd have them running laps, doing sit-ups and push-ups, lifting weights and sparring against each other or him. He had also got to make Helia's armor. It was white in color with gold accents. 6 blue tassels are now attached to the back of his armor, with golden crosshair pendants on the end. There is a blue cape with gold trims attached for. His sword was a European longsword with edges white as his armor, the midsection and guard bright gold, and the hilt blue 5. This was Arandite. It didn't have any noteworthy abilities except for an energy strike that pushed the user mana to the limit. Alphea Cafeteria, morning time. We now find Naruto along with Roxy, Stella, Bloom and Musa eating breakfast on this fine Friday morning. Today was the Day of Rose, a holiday where people honor their mothers. So why did you guys stay? Asked Musa. Didn't want to make myself more homesick by going back, said Bloom. Ditto, said Roxy. My parents are divorcing and it's hard to be near them, said Stella. You already know my answer. So why did you decide to stay? Asked Naruto to Musa. I don't really like to talk about it, but my mom passed away when I was young. And me and my dad aren't really talking right now, said Musa in a sad tone. Alright, enough of this doom and gloom. Today there's a festival town along with a race. Naruto, you should totally enter it for fun, said Stella with a smile. Naruto nodded at that. Totally. Let's go guys, said Naruto. Roxy and Bloom nodded, while Musa stayed back. Hey, you guys can go ahead. I don't really feel like going out, said Musa. She then turned walking away from the group. Not wanting to leave her alone, Naruto said, you girls go on ahead. I'll go talk to her and catch up. The girls nodded and he ran after Musa. Naruto didn't notice them all smiling mischievously. Alphea balcony, 10 minutes later. Naruto finds Musa sitting at the edge of the balcony, looking at a video projection of a beautiful older woman. So that's your mom, huh? I can see where you got your looks from, said Naruto, alerting Musa to his presence. She blushed at his comment before shaking her head. Hey, I thought you were going to join the race at the festival? What are you doing here? Questioned Musa. Yeah, I'm still going. But I wanted to check up on you, said Naruto. It's okay, I'm fine, said Musa with a fake smile. Naruto moved towards her, wrapping his arms around her, which caused her to freeze. Stop lying to me, Musa, I can sense when people are lying. Just let it out, said Naruto in a soft tone, rubbing her back. Musa began to break down, sobbing into his shirt. She wailed and wailed, letting out her sadness. What would she say if she could see me now? Would she be disappointed in me? I think she would love you no matter what. I believe she would be proud of how talented and beautiful you've become. She would be overjoyed that you are following your dreams, said Naruto, rubbing the tears off her face. His eyes focused on Musa's and hers on his. Musa felt touched by Naruto's comforting words. She felt so warm in his embrace. The other girls are so lucky to have a guy like you, really lucky. Her emotions were high as she gazed into his eyes. Ah, to hell with it, she thought as she grabbed Naruto by the collar and pulled him into a searing kiss. Naruto's eyes grew wide before he reciprocated the kiss, pouring his emotions into it. They stood there making out for a few minutes before separating. Well, said Musa, red in the face and panting. Yes, said Naruto, equally red in the face. There was then a flash of light before a voice spoke. Wahoo! Another harem sister acquired. Turning around, they saw Stella standing there with a camera, a bright smile on their face. Bloom and Roxy were behind here with smiles on their faces. Wait guys, I'm so sorry. It was just the heat of the moment, said Musa with Naruto nodding. Oh, you're okay, sweetie. We expected this to happen. We wanted you to make a move on him, said Stella. What? Screamed the duo. Yeah, we expected other girls to fall for our whiskered prince here, said Bloom. Now that you've joined the harem, we only have to wait for Flora, Aisha, and Tekna to make a move, said Roxy, grinning. You guys can't be serious. I thought you were joking about the harem, said Naruto, covering his crimson face. Musa, snapping out of her daze, bursted out laughing. She then moved in front of Naruto and began to shower his face with kisses. She ended with another kiss on the lips and grabbed his crotch. You have enough love for all of us, don't you, big boy? She cooed out, making steam come out of Naruto's ears. Heh heh heh, I guess, said Naruto with a goofy smile on his face. He then shook his head. You guys are something else. Anyway, aside from that, we should get going. I don't want to miss the race. The other girls nodded at this, and they made their way to the transport bus. Magic City, 2 hours later. We now find our group walking around, as roses were falling from the sky. They saw Sky, Brandon, and Riven up ahead. Hey guys, how's it going, guys? Said Naruto, with the other girls greeting them as well. Hey man, nothing much. You entered the race today? Asked Brandon. Hell yeah. And he's gonna win it, said Stella, giving Naruto a kiss on the cheek. You'll have to get through me first. I'm winning this year, said Riven fiercely. Those sound like betting words, my friend, said Naruto with a grin. Oh, most definitely. How about this? If I win, you let me take Bloom as my escort for the dance this evening, said Riven, causing Naruto to flinch. Oh, you really shouldn't have said that, said Naruto as he watched a flower pot hover over Riven's head. Splash. Riven was covered head to toe in water, leaving him soaked. He turned to see Bloom standing in front of him with a pissed-off look on her face. Hey, maybe you cannot talk about me like I'm some prize, said Bloom, her eyes glowing orange with anger. And even if you were the last guy on Earth, I wouldn't date you. You're totally conceited. Totally beepy. Totally boring, waste of good oxygen. I'm sorry, but guys like you give guys a bad name, Riven. You are really cute when you're angry, you know that? Riven told her in an attempt to flirt, grabbing her chin. And he's chosen death, mumbled Naruto, with the other girls nodding in agreement. Bloom raised her hand and brought it down against Riven's face. Slap. There was a red handprint left on Riven's cheek. He grew angry before walking off with a pissed-off look on his face. Bloom turned back to the group, huffing and crossing her arms. Who does he think he is? He'll never get a girl like that, she said. Sorry about Riven. Today makes him a little hard to deal with, since his mother abandoned him as a child, Sky explained to them. Bloom flinched, feeling a little bad about how she humiliated him. So he's really just hurting and trying to mask it, thought Naruto. I'm gonna go find Riven a gift to apologize, said Bloom. The group nodded as she left. Naruto and the rest of the guys then left to get ready for the race. 1 hour later. The racers were all lined up at the starting line. Naruto had summoned Cavalier and had put on some goggles. In the crowd was Stella and the rest of the girls, with Roxy holding Kurama. Racers, are you ready? Asked the referee. Seeing them all nod their heads, he raised his flag and dropped it, shouting, Start! Insert song, Subhuman, Devil May Cry 5. And they were off, with Naruto in the lead and Riven on his tail. They continued throughout the track, making elaborate turns and drifts. Some racers had wiped out, though they weren't hurt. The only racers left were Riven, Brandon, Naruto, and a mystery rider. Riven had eventually passed Naruto, and looked like he was going to win. All of a sudden Bloom appeared, in her fairy form, racing after Riven. Bloom, what's going on? Asked Naruto, as he kept up with her on his ride. The tricks, they disguised one of their minions as Timmy and tricked me into giving Riven a faulty helmet, explained Bloom. I've got to stop him before he hurts himself. They both heard a scream and saw Riven's helmet frying with electricity. This caused him to lose his balance, crashing into an obstacle and was sent flying. Seeing that something needed to be done, Naruto summoned a shadow clone to jump and catch Riven, cushioning his fall. Naruto then crossed the finish line, before dismissing his bike and heading back towards Riven. When he reached Riven, he saw the mystery rider checking on Riven. The rider removed their helmet, revealing Darcy. Hey, you okay? She asked. Riven became lost in her eyes before replying. I am now beautiful, he said, causing Darcy to giggle. Riven, get away from her! Shouted Bloom, landing near the pair. How about you get away from me? You totally played me. Just so your boyfriend could win the race? Riven shouted back in anger. Riven, she was tricked into it. She would never do that on purpose, said Naruto, as the rest of the group approached. Of course you would defend her. She won you the race, he shot back. You know what, I'm out of here. He began to walk away. Hey Riven, wait up! Shouted Darcy, following after him. Riven smiled at her, allowing her to join him. Darcy! Shouted Naruto. She turned to look at him, only to freeze at the sight of blood-red eyes. Behind him was the silhouette of a giant menacing kitsune. You better not hurt him or else I'm coming after you. She quickly nodded and ran ahead to catch up with Riven. Hey, is everything okay? Musa asked, a little worried. Yeah, it's just a little squabble. Hopefully things will go back to normal in a while, said Naruto. This is my fault. If only I had known that wasn't Timmy, said Bloom in a sad tone. Hey, don't beat yourself up. Just give Riven some time, said Brandon. Hey, let's head home for today, said Roxy. The rest of them nodded, bidding each other farewell and making their way to the transport bus. Alphia, next morning. We find Naruto chilling with the Winx in their dorm. Bloom had come to him saying that her dreams of Daphne have been becoming more frequent. Her magic has also been going haywire while she's asleep. I was really worried when Bloom kept flashing into her fairy form while sleeping, said Flora. Well, I've been looking up Daphne in any history books I could find, but it comes up empty so far, said Naruto. Well, thanks for trying anyway, Bloom told him, looking down. Musa then walked in the room saying, Hey, I'm going into Magic City. Anybody want to come along? Sure, I'm down. Anyone else? Said Naruto. The rest of the girls except for Bloom said no. The trio then made their way to the transport bus, intent on spending the day relaxing in the city. Magic City, 2 hours. The three of them were walking around the city, looking for something to do. It was at that moment that Naruto noticed a new building. It was a dance club and had recently opened up. How about we check this place out? Said Naruto, gesturing to the building. Sure. I wonder what music they'll have, said Musa in an excited tone. I'm down to dance, said Bloom, with a shrug. As they entered the building, they were greeted by the receptionist and directed to the main dance hall. There were a bunch of people there, moving and grooving to the beat. The DJ then appeared and said, Greetings everyone and welcome to the newly opened dance club. Everyone cheered at that. Now we have a special event. We are now taking song recommendations and group performances. The people in the crowd began to mumble at this, deciding what to perform. Guys, we should totally go first, said Musa, eager to perform. I don't know, there's a lot of people here, said Bloom, a little nervous. Don't worry, Bloom, we got this, said Naruto, grinning. Musa will follow your lead on this one. Musa nodded at that. She went to the DJ, already having a song in mind. After informing the DJ, the group moved on to the stage. All right, everyone, let's give it up for our first performers, Musa, Bloom, and Naruto, shouted the DJ as the crowd cheered. No, let's hit it. He then pressed play for their song. Insert song, Gangstar Torture Dance, JoJo Part 5. Vocal percussion on a whole nother level coming from my mind. Vocal percussion on a whole nother level coming from my mind. Musa started off the dance, with Naruto and Bloom bumping to the beat. She moved through the moves, with Naruto eventually following the same moves. Ah! We're Golden Wind. Kono mi amareri marareri maramaro. Ayaha! We're Golden Wind. Kono mi amareri marareri maramaro. Bloom finally joins in, syncing her movements with Naruto and Musa's. The crowd went wild, cheering and dancing along with them. It's like a burning sunrise. Ahi makarera mak harpunpunkeet. It's like a burning sunset. Ahi makarera mak harpunpunkeet. It's like a burning sunrise. Ahi makarera mak harpunpunkeet. It's like a burning sunset. Ah! We're Golden Wind. Kono mi amareri marareri maramaro. Ayaha! We're Golden Wind. Kono mi amareri marareri maramaro. Yeah! It's like a golden wind. I'm dancing for your mind. I'm shaking like a. 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 Like a burning golden wind. Spread wide your golden wind. Why don't you dance to swing? I'm swinging like a. 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 Swinging like a golden wind. Vocal percussion on a whole nother level coming from my mind. Comin' from my mind. Vocal percussion on a whole nother level coming from my mind. Comin' from my mind. It's like a burning sunrise. Song end. Hoo-hoo! Bellowed out the crowd at the great performance. Yeah, let's give it up again for Musa, Bloom and Naruto! Shouted the DJ, the crowd giving another round of applause. Musa and Bloom grabbed Naruto into a group hug. That was awesome! I never felt so free, exclaimed Bloom as they exited the stage. Yeah, that was totally a rush. I wouldn't mind dancing again, said Naruto excitedly. You guys were great out there. We synced so well too, said Musa. So should we head out? Now we can dance for a little while longer, said Naruto. The other two nodded in agreement, and they made their way to the dance floor. They stayed at the club, laughing and dancing the afternoon away. Pizza shop, 3 hours. After partying for a while, the trio left the dance club and went to get some food. Bloom and Naruto went inside the pizza shop to order a pie, while Musa waited outside for them. However, when they return, Musa is nowhere to be seen. Where did she go? Questioned Bloom Musa. Musa, where are you? They then heard a loud echoing screech which shattered all the glass within the vicinity. People were panicking and running for their lives. Wait, that was Musa's sonic screech. She must be in trouble if she's using that in the city, said Naruto, alarmed. We have to find her. Bloom nodded and transformed into her fairy form, taking to the skies. Naruto jumped after her, hopping from the rooftops. Alleyway, 10 minutes later. We now find Musa cornered by a horde of witches, including the Tricks. She had Beowulf equipped and was panting, tired from fighting off some of the witches. She was honestly regretting her situation right now. She had been waiting for Naruto and Bloom, when she noticed Riven and Darcy sitting at a cafe table. They then left, and she had moved to follow them, but was caught by Stormy and Icy. Icy began to make fun of her, calling her a weirdo and a stalker. She slapped Icy in retaliation, but that was a mistake. Icy and Stormy rallied some other witches from Cloud Tower to chase after her and corner her. She made a run for it, using Beowulf to increase her speed. She ran into Riven and asked him for help. But that jerk just blew her off, saying it wasn't his problem and that she should get Naruto's help. She then continued to run, until she reached a dead end. She used her sonic screech to hopefully get Naruto and Bloom's attention. She had been fighting off these witches for 20 minutes so far. "You really thought you could get away with slapping me, didn't you, Fairy?" Icy said with venom. She then fired some ice shards, which Musa tried to dodge, but a few lodged themselves into her right leg and right arm, drawing blood. She screamed in pain and tried to crawl away, but Stormy grabbed her by her pigtail. "Oh, the little fairy bitch wants to run away? Not on my watch!" screamed Stormy as she began to shock Musa, causing her to scream, tears flowing out her eyes. "Stop it, please! Stop it, ahhhh!" She started but was interrupted by Stormy shocking her again. The other witches laughed at her screams. Stormy moved to shock her one more time, before two voices cried out, "Get the funk away from her!" Stormy was then knocked away with a fierce right hook and a powerful blast, her jaw aching from the blow. She had a burn mark on her arm. She looked up and was greeted to a terrifying sight. There stood Bloom in her fairy form, glowing a fierce orange, with red scales around her eyes and wrists. Her nails grew longer and looked like claws, while her canines grew longer. Next to her was Naruto with blood-red eyes, elongated fangs and claws. His whiskers grew darker, and covering him was a reddish-orange bubbly cloak in the shape of a fox with 3 tails. "Go, what do you think you're doing to our mate?" asked Bloom in a deep voice. Icy observed Bloom, noticing the draconic features on her body. "No way, it's her. She has the dragon flame." Stormy, feeling brave, answered, "We're teaching that bitch a less crash." She was interrupted when Naruto blitzed her, giving her another fierce right hook, knocking her into a wall. Naruto followed up with a devastating punch to the gut, burying Stormy deeper in the wall and knocking her unconscious. He then picked her up and threw her to Darcy. "Take her and leave, now!" he shouted at them. All the witches stood there petrified in fear at the beat-down he gave Stormy. "You're still here. I said leave, ROERRR. This snapped them out of their shock and they all began teleporting away. Naruto then took a deep breath, calming himself down. The version 1 cloak receded, with his feature returning to normal. He turned to Bloom, and saw her kneeling next to Musa, her hand placed on the girl's unconscious body. Musa's body glowed and flashed orange, before it died down, revealing that she was completely healed. Bloom turned to Naruto, her form still oozing with power. "Our mate is out of harm's way, my alpha. She will wake up soon," said Bloom. Naruto narrowed his eyes, before they widened. "You're the manifestation of her dragon flame, aren't you? She really does have it," said Naruto in amazement. "You truly are a smart one, my alpha. You are correct in your assumption," Bloom said. "I ask that you keep this a secret from my host. She is still not ready for the responsibility that comes with wielding this power." Naruto seemed conflicted, before eventually nodding and said, "I understand. I just hope that she won't be mad at me when she finds out." His expression was worrying. Bloom walked forward, grabbing the sides of his face and pulling him into a passionate makeout session. She released him and said, "Do not worry, my alpha, she will understand when she's ready. My time is up for now. Please continue to take good care of her." Her body was covered in a flash of light, before it died down, revealing Bloom in her civilian form. "Whoa, what happened?" said Bloom, a little dizzy. "You just exploded with power. I also used my Jinchuriki cloak and we scared the witches off. You also healed Musa in the process," said Naruto, deciding not to tell her about the dragon flame. "Ugh, my head," they heard Musa groan. They turned to see her getting up. Seeing Naruto, she began to tear up, moving forward, grabbing him into a hug. He held her tight, letting her pour it out. Are you feeling better? He asked, rubbing her back. She let him go and pulled him into a makeout session, before stopping and said, "Yeah, thank you for saving me. I really was scared for my life." She gave him one more kiss, then turned to Bloom. "And thank you, Bloom, for healing me." "Do I get a kiss as well?" She pouted jokingly, but was surprised when Musa grabbed her face and locked lips with her. She let go a few moments later, leaving Bloom red in the face. "Hot damn," said Kurama. "Shit, that's hot," Naruto said, trying to keep little Naruto under control. Tastes like pepperoni," said Musa with a sultry grin. "I was kidding." "Oh god, you're like a second Roxy," said Bloom, covering her face in embarrassment. "Well, anyway, let's call it a day and head home," Naruto said. "It's getting late. And you guys have curfew." The girls nodded and the trio made their way to the bus. Alfea, 1 hour later. Naruto walks the girls to the front of Alfea. He kisses them goodbye, smacking them in the rear as they walk away. He then makes his way to his house. Once at the door, he walks in and puts his keys down. Heading up to his room, he is greeted to an amazing sight. "Oh god. She is like another Roxy," said Naruto. "Are you guys sure you want the other girls in on this? I'm perfectly okay with just you four." "Of course, babe. Who better to hold our hearts than someone we trust with our lives?" said Stella, giving him a passionate kiss. "Plus, I want them all to experience the love that you can give them. I love you, Naruto." Again Naruto teared up at those magic words and replied, "I love you too, Stella, I really do. Good night, Stella." "Good night, my foxy Prince Charming," she replied. They drifted off to sleep, enjoying each other's embrace. Alfea, the next morning. Naruto and Stella appeared in the Winx dorm with a flash. They were making out, before Stella pulled back saying thanks for last night. It was wonderful. She had a dazed smile. They heard doors opening, seeing the other girls dressed for class. Roxy skipped to Stella and grabbed her hands. "So Stella, how was last night?" she asked out loud for the other girls to hear. A huge smirk was on her face. "Oh, it was amazing. He was so rough and forceful, but gentle and loving when you wanted him to be," Stella said with a loving smile. The other girls not dating Naruto blushed atomic red. They quickly shuffled out, saying they had things to do. "You guys are evil," Musa said with a laugh. "I like it. We should really keep this up." "Who do you think is gonna cave in next?" "Techno will most likely be last, since the girl has trouble with emotions still," said Roxy with a thoughtful look. "Aisha," said Stella with a knowing look. "I don't know, Flora may surprise us," Bloom said with a finger on her chin in thought. Naruto looked at his girlfriends plotting, thinking, "Kurama, what have I gotten myself into?" "I'm telling you, my boy, it's that devil's luck of yours taking full effect," Kurama told him from within the seal. Naruto shook his head in amusement. Cloud Tower, that same moment. "Okay, are we gonna talk about what the hell was that?" screamed Stormy. She had a cast on her arm and bandages on her face from the damage she suffered. "It turns out Bloom has the dragon flame, though I'm not sure how she got it," said Icy. "But that Naruto guy, he had some serious power as well. It was so intoxicating. And he looked so wild," she thought with a flush on her face. Darcy nodded, and said he used that same power on me, to make sure nothing happened to Riven. "It's obvious he was holding back when he fought us. Stormy's condition is proof enough." "Ugh. I can't wait till I get my hands on him. He's dead, I tell you, dead," shouted Stormy in anger. "You fool! We have to be careful around him," Icy said with a glare. "He could kill each of us alone and together, quite easily." "Stormy, she's right. We need to be careful, and make sure not to harm those fairies he hangs around with, otherwise we could end up like you. Or worse," Darcy said with a shudder. "Ugh, fine. We'll play mouse around that Naruto guy," she said while getting up and heading to the door. Where are you going, sister?" asked Darcy in confusion. I have another date today. He's taking me to the movies, and a restaurant for dinner later, Stormy explained, with a small blush. Ho? Is that a blush I see? He must be really something if he can get you to blush, Icy teased her. I know you're not talking, Icy. I know you kept that nude you got from Naruto, Stormy shot back at her, with a smirk. Icy blushed and replied, I don't know what you're talking about. Enjoy your date, sister. She walked out whistling. Stormy rolled her eyes and followed suit, intent on getting to her date on time. Darcy watched them leave, thinking maybe I'll hang out with Righty Whitey today. She then left the room as well, locking the door behind her. Althea, the next day. It was the afternoon, and we now find Naruto in the library, making sure that all the books were in their proper places, while Bloom was sitting at a table searching through books. Any luck finding out about Daphne, Bloom? Asked Naruto from his spot. No, I haven't, and it's really frustrating. I want to know who this woman is and why she's contacting me, said Bloom in annoyance. Naruto moved over to her, giving her a small hug. Don't worry, you'll find out eventually. You just have to be patient with it, he said in a soothing tone. You're right. Okay, I'm good now, she said, taking a break. Everything seems pretty tight-lipped about her, though. She fixed her hair that had been messed up from all her searching. You know what? Let's head up to town for the rest of the day. Take your mind off Daphne for a while, said Naruto. Thinking about it, Bloom nodded at the idea. They cleaned up the books she had scattered and made their way to the bus. Magic City, 2 hours later. We find Naruto and Bloom walking the city streets eating ice cream. They notice a sign saying Art Museum, free painting lessons happening right now. Oh, can we check it out? Please? Please? Asked Bloom with the puppy dog eyes. Okay. No need to use those dreaded eyes on me, said Naruto in acceptance. They finished their ice cream and went inside. They reached the front desk and asked for directions to the free lessons. They were given name tags and directed to a room filled with about 10 other people and the teacher of the class. As they sat down next to each other, the teacher began, Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ms. Jean and I want to thank you all for attending this class. Now, before we start painting, I'm going to go over the types of painting styles. She spent the next 20 minutes going over painting styles such as regular painting, oil painting, acrylic painting, and spray painting. Naruto and Bloom found regular painting most interesting since it felt more detailed than the others. Now everyone, please choose the type of painting you want to do. You'll be provided supplies and have 2 hours to complete it, said Ms. Jean. After everyone chose their style and received their supplies, they all got to work on making their paintings. 2 hours later. All right, everyone. Put down your brushes and I'll come around to inspect your painting, said Ms. Jean. Everyone did as she said and waited patiently as she came around. Ms. Jean noticed some good paintings, complimenting them. When she reached Naruto and Bloom, she gasped and said, Naruto, Bloom, these are wonderful. Do you want to tell us about them? The other occupants of the room turned to see the paintings and were amazed. Naruto's painting was landscape-styled and the background was a deep ocean. It showcased 12 different colored flames at the base. From those flames sprouted 12 arms that pushed a sinking Naruto up to the surface. Bloom's painting was landscaped, and the background was a light yellow. It showcased a giant Bloom in her fairy form, holding her parents, Naruto, and her friends in the palms of her hands. She was staring down at them with a bright smile. Well, my painting represents my girlfriends and friends. They are my pillars of support, and raise me up when I'm sinking into despair, said Naruto with a grin. While my painting shows my parents, Naruto, and my friends. They are the world to me and I'm grateful to have such people in my life, said Bloom with a bright smile. She grabbed Naruto's hand and gave it a squeeze. Well, I think they are wonderful. If you two don't mind, I would like to hang these on display in the museum, asked Ms. Jean. Thinking about it, Bloom and Naruto nodded. Sure, go ahead. I don't mind, replied Naruto. That would actually be really cool, added Bloom. Ms. Jean gave them both a thankful nod, and with help from someone that worked there, they carried both paintings over to a wall that didn't have any paintings hanging from it, and hung them both there side by side. They also wrote down who did which painting, and the descriptions of each painting. After they were set up, Bloom and Naruto left the museum and walked around for a bit. So what do you want to do now? Asked Naruto. Bloom gave it some thought, then replied, I think we should head back to Althea. I have my midterm test in the simulator tomorrow, so I need to get ready. I'm supposed to restore a barren world back to normal. Naruto gave a nod, and they walked to the bus stop. Little did they know, Riven had been there listening to the whole thing, his eyes glowing a menacing purple. Cloud Tower, at that same moment. Darcy had a hand to her head, eyes glowing as she received a message from Riven. She then said, Excellent, thank you for the info, my darling Riven. Anything for you, my sweet Darcy, replied Riven through the mental link. The connection cut, and Darcy turned to Icy and Stormy. Ladies, we've just been given a great opportunity, she told them, with a smirk on her face. She relayed what Riven had told her to them. Perfect, all we need to do is mess with that simulator a bit, and we'll have confirmation that Bloom holds the dragon flame, said Stormy, as she punched her fist into her hand. Icy gave a cold smile, saying, Indeed, sister, indeed. Althea, Simulation Chamber. It was the next morning, and we find that everyone was outside the simulator. Faragonda, Griselda, and Naruto were there watching the exams to see how the students did. Professor Palladium was manning the controls. All right, ladies, who would like to go first? Asked Palladium. Nobody spoke up for a few moments, so he said, All right, since no one is feeling courageous, Bloom, why don't you go first? Bloom looked nervous before looking at Naruto and taking a deep breath. She nodded, saying, Of course, Professor, I'm ready. She then made her way into the simulator, prepared for what's to come. Okay, Bloom, I'm sending you to the planet Domino. You need to try and make its barren land become thriving again. Okay? The professor said. He input a few keys and Bloom's surroundings changed to a barren wasteland. Bloom nodded her head and looked around. She then went into her backpack for supplies, but found an unexpected surprise in the form of Kiko. He jumped out of her bag and ran around for a bit. She laughed, going back to her bag and pulling out some seeds. She dug a hole, spread them about in it, covered them back up, and then she pulled out a water bottle and poured some water on them. She used some magic to make the seeds grow faster, with them sprouting into full-grown trees. Happy with that, she was about to continue when she heard some laughter behind her. She spun around and saw the Trix floating above her, looking at her with smug looks. Well, hello there, Bloom, Icy said, with her left hand on her hip. Looks like you're doing something really important there. Would be so sad if we did something to mess you up. She launched a blast of ice daggers at the freshly grown trees, destroying them. The hell? What are you guys even doing here? Bloom demanded from them. She immediately transformed and took to the shy, fire dancing around her palms. Stormy gave a smirk and said, We just thought we'd make this more exciting. Is that so wrong? She finished with a fake hurt look and tone. Outside the simulator, the spectators were surprised and worried by the appearance of the Trix. Palladium, is this supposed to happen? Asked Naruto in worry. No, it's not, Palladium replied, while tapping some keys in front of him. The controls then sparked and fritzed. Oh? I don't like the sound of that said Musa in concern. Yeah, Professor, what's the problem? Asked Roxy. There seems to be a glitch in the programming. It's preventing any outside interference with the simulation, he said. That also means that I can't pull Bloom out and she's on her own. What? Shouted everyone. Naruto's eyes bled red and he grit his teeth. Back inside the simulation, the trio of witches were pelting Bloom with spells, which she blocked or dodged. She would counter back sometimes, trying to throw them off. The tricks frowned at this pitiful display of power from Bloom. I don't get it. Where's that power from the other day? Asked Stormy with an unhappy look on her face. She must be mentally suppressing it somehow. We need to stress her out somehow, Darcy said in thought. She then spotted something that made her grin and directed the others' attention to it. Stormy gave a nasty grin and fired a spell, causing an explosion that kicked up a lot of dust. There was a loud squeal that caught Bloom's attention. When the dust settled, she was greeted to the horrifying sight of Stormy holding Kiko over a cliff with a lava pit at the bottom. Stormy, don't you dare! She shouted, as scales began to creep their way onto her skin. Stormy gave a creepy grin, dropping Kiko over the cliff and said, "Oops, my bad. My hand must have slipped." "Kiko!" yelled Bloom, and there was a flash of light. A huge gust of wind appeared and knocked the tricks away. When the light died down, there stood Bloom glowing a fierce orange, and her draconian features having returned. In her arms was an unconscious but unharmed Kiko. "You bitches just don't learn. Then let me burn this into your minds. Stay the funk away from me and my friends," she roared out. She summoned lambent flare, raising it above her head and gathering her flames into the blade. A giant flaming sun began to form, swirling with fierce power. The sun then turned dark blue and Bloom shouted Dragon Commandment, Supernova. She pointed her rapier forward, sending the attack straight for the tricks. "Yes. Yes. This is what I was looking for," shouted Icy with a crazed grin as the attack collided and detonated. There was a tornado of flames released as the tricks disappeared from the simulation. When the explosion died down, there was Bloom, floating in the air before falling unconscious and landing on the ground. Outside the simulator, Naruto immediately busted in, running to Bloom and made sure that she was all right. The other Winx and Farragonda soon followed behind. "Is she okay, Naruto?" asked Stella, worried for her friend and harem sister. He gave a nod and replied, "Yeah, she's just unconscious and exhausted." Everyone gave a sigh of relief at hearing that. Farragonda looked around at the burning landscape and mumbled, "Why did you choose this place of all worlds, Bloom?" Naruto heard her but kept it to himself. "What happened to the tricks? You don't think Bloom actually?" asked Flora, scared to complete her sentence. Farragonda shook her head. "It's quite alright, Flora. Those were merely physical projections of them," she said with reassurance in her tone. "For now let's get Bloom to her room for some rest, alright." The Winx and Naruto nodded, carrying Bloom out the simulator. Cloud Tower, at that moment. The tricks were sitting in a circle with their eyes closed, before they all opened their eyes and gave each other excited grins. "Yes. She's definitely the one," Icy shouted out, still with the happy grin on her face. "All right, sisters. We have to play the patient game and approach this carefully," said Darcy in a thoughtful tone. "Ugh, fine, but I guess the power will be worth it," Stormy groaned out. "Yes, and I can cure my sister and home planet of their curse at long last," thought Icy. She then remembered what Naruto told her about having power, and the right reason to use it. This is the right reason. It will all work out in the end. She just hoped that he would understand why they had to take Bloom's power from her. Winxstorm, next morning. All of the group were in the living room area, chilling or studying for the exam. Due to Bloom's giant leap in power yesterday, the simulator crashed, causing the midterm to be postponed. Stella joked that Bloom should do that again for their history exam. "Hey, has anyone seen Tekna?" asked Naruto, as he looked around. "No, not really. You think she left early?" replied Flora, shaking her head. "Most likely," shrugged Bloom in response. They then heard some mumbling coming from Tekna's room. Going inside, they saw a bunch of Flora's plants moving around her room. They heard more grunting and mumbling coming from Tekna's closet. Opening it revealed Tekna bound and gagged with vines, and an unamused look on her face. Using wind chakra, Naruto cut her free, causing her to cough a bit. Okay, seriously, I came into my room for panties. I didn't expect to receive Bon Beat play from your damn plants, Flora, she yelled out. Flora flinched at the scolding. Tekna then asked what type of seeds were these planted from anyway? I'm triple S seeds, Flora answered, in a quiet tone with her head down. Triple S. You know how carefully those have to be handled. Come on, Flora! Tekna yelled out, making Flora even more ashamed. Oh my God! Shouted Stella's voice from her room. Naruto, Tekna and Flora moved to see what was going on. In Stella's room there were a bunch of plants and vines blocking her closet. Okay, seriously, Flora, these plants have gotta move! Stella shouted out, unhappy she couldn't get into her closet. Okay, I'm sorry. I was experimenting for my midterm and things may have gotten a little out of hand, Flora told them, trying to explain. I'll move them somewhere else for my experiments. Naruto, could you be a dear and help me out? She asked as she turned to him for some help. Sure, where are we taking them? He asked. I'm thinking of the black mud swamp, replied Flora. Oh, Flora, Naruto, do be careful, it might be dangerous, said Bloom in a worried tone. No worries, Bloom, will be okay, replied Naruto, spawning 4 clones to grab all the plants. He and Flora said goodbye and left the dorm. Seriously, guys. I know things with her plants have been hectic, but we did promise to let her keep some in our room, said Bloom in a disappointed tone, causing Tekna and Stella to flinch. Now I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm going to help Flora. Musa, Roxy and Aisha nodded in agreement and left with Bloom. Stella and Tekna soon followed, feeling a bit guilty about how they yelled at Flora. Black Mud Swamp, 1 hour later. We find Flora and Naruto surrounded by Flora's plants. They were doing inventory to see if all the plants are accounted for. Alright, that's all of them, said Flora, smiling. Yeah, I gotta say your collection is something else, Flora, said Naruto, impressed. Flora blushed at the praise. The two of them heard footsteps and turned around, seeing the rest of the Winx coming into the clearing. Hey Flora, we decided to come and help you prepare for your midterm, said Bloom in greeting. Yes, I believe that we were a little harsh with you. So me and Stella wanted to make it up to you, said Tekna in an apologetic tone. Thank you guys, said Flora with a smile that radiated happiness. Well, all I really need help with is finding the cheerful gladiolus flower. I have a potion that can duplicate things I drop it on. Flora showed the group what the flower looked like, with them nodding and beginning to search for the plant. 2 hours later. It has been a while and the group are nowhere close to finding the plant. They tried going deeper into the swamp, but still had no luck. They were walking down a path when Stella suddenly tripped and fell, getting dirt on her face. Ugh. I can't take it anymore. I'm tired, sweaty, and I can't stand this messy SWMMPH, Stella started but was interrupted by Flora's hand clamping down on her mouth. Sure, look, she said, pointing near the edge of a lake. There were small blue mermaid-like creatures laying on a plant near the water. Those are undines. Maybe they can help us find the PLAUCH. Flora started but screamed as Stella bit her hand. Don't do that again, said Stella loudly, alerting the undines of their presence. Oops. The undines tried to flee, but Flora calls out, wait, please don't go. We mean you no harm. We actually could use your help. This caused the undines to stop their retreat. Flora continued, we're looking for a plant known as the cheerful gladiolus. Do you know where we can find it? The undines adopted thinking poses, before saying we might not know where it is, but our queen should definitely know where it is. Follow us please. They turned and swam off with the others following them. 30 minutes later. After following the undines, the group came upon a medium-sized island filled with more of the species. The girls were amazed with how many undines there were. You won't be able to enter our home, but we'll inform our queen that you're here, said one of the undines. The group nodded and waited for a bit, while one of the undines went under the water. A few minutes later, A miniature throne popped out of the lake, revealing a gold-colored undine. Greetings, young ones, I am the Queen of the Undines. I'm told that your group is looking for the cheerful gladiolus, said the Queen. They nodded and she replied, I can get it for you, but my people are in need of your services. Sure, what can we help you with? Said Flora, with the rest of the group agreeing to help. There is a terrible monster that threatens us daily. We could use some help getting rid of it, said the Queen. Wait, if it's threatening your home, why don't you just move then? Asked Bloom, a little confused. We can't move due to a plant that's vital to our survival called a zilith. And it only grows on this island, replied the Queen. We sent one of our own, Lose Eyes, to harvest it, but she hasn't returned in a while. We believe that the monster is responsible for this. It is located at the base of the island. The group nodded and the girls transformed, taking to the air, while Naruto Water walked to the base of the island. Once they reached their destination, they looked around for the monster the Queen was talking about. Damn, this might take a while, said Naruto, getting a little impatient. Great, just what we need. More time in this icky swamp. I can't take this anymore. Did you guys hear that? Started Stella till she heard a noise. I think I heard something. Maybe you're just hearing things. There's nothing out though, HSHIT. Started Musa before she yelled as a giant black creature popped out and ate her. It then dove back underwater. Musa! Yelled Naruto. Guys, we're going after them, said Bloom with authority. She casted an air bubble spell on the group and they dived in after Musa. When submerged, they saw the beast's head and swam towards it, pelting it with energy blasts to get it to open its mouth. Naruto entered Sage mode and grabbed its jaws, prying them open and holding them in place. This allowed Bloom to slip in and grab Musa, quickly retreating to the surface. Naruto let go of the beast's jaws and kicked it in the head to disorient it and cover their escape. Back on the island's surface, we find Bloom pumping Musa's chest, causing the girl to cough out water. Cough, cough, man, that wasn't fun, said Musa, getting the rest of the water out. Thanks for the save, guys. No problem. That thing has a really tough hide though. I don't think any energy attacks will hurt it, said Roxy. Maybe we should focus on finding Lose Eyes instead. The group nodded and began wandering the island in search of the lost Undine. A few moments later, they all began to feel drowsy. It was getting hard to stay awake, and some of the girls collapsed. Flora then noticed the source of a problem. Oh. It's a red willow, she said, pointing toward a giant red plant with vines waving around. It releases a gas that puts people and animals to sleep. Technic, can you make a barrier to block out the gas? Asked Naruto, feeling tired. Techna nodded, conjuring a dome of energy to protect the group. The fallen girls began to get up. That was when Naruto noticed a small yellow Undine waking up as well. Hey there, are you Lose Eyes? He asked her. She gave a nod, then she asked, who are you and how did you know my name? Aisha replied, your queen told us she sent you here, but that you didn't return. So she sent us to find you, and to get rid of the monster. Wait, that isn't a monster. It's actually a turtle, and the island is its shell. It's been sleepwalking for eons because of the red willow, said Lose Eyes, shocking the group. Bloom and Flora, looks like we got a plant to uproot, said Naruto with a serious look. I'll get it out of the ground, then help Bloom burn it. Flora, you focus on dispelling the gas. The other two nodded. They all signaled for Techna to make a hole in the barrier and got to work. Flora uses her control over plants to direct the gas away from the group. Naruto then used Earth Style, Earth Pillar, to uproot the red willow, sending it into the air. Fire Style, Fireball Jutsu, Dragon Fire, intoned Naruto and Bloom, releasing streams of fire and burning the red willow to ash. Naruto used a Blast of Wind style to dispel the ash and the rest of the gas. 30 minutes later, we now find the group and Lose Eyes in front of the queen. The girls had returned to their civilian forms and were kneeling, along with Naruto. I thank you for finding Lu's eyes and getting rid of the red willow. The turtle has left our habitat, but it allowed us to collect as much zilith as we could," said the Queen Undine, gesturing to the large pile of flowers. "Though we will eventually run out since the soil isn't fertile enough to grow them." Said Flora in a thinking position. "Naruto, I got an idea?" She then whispered in his ear, causing him to laugh and nod in agreement. He used Earth style to open up some holes and plant some of the zilith into the holes. What are you doing?" asked the Queen, curious. "You'll see, Your Majesty." "Prepare to be amazed," said Flora with a smile. She and Naruto clapped their hands and began to draw in natural energy. The group were greeted to the sight of Flora's sage mode. It appeared as dark green pigmentation around her eyes that extends to her ears, also gaining an additional round marking on her forehead with a diamond marking in its center. Growing from the diamond marking were wavy line markings that went from her head to her chest and arms. 1. She took Naruto's left hand in her right, as a green orb appeared in their conjoined hands. They slammed it into the ground, shouting, "Sage art, nature's rejuvenation." Green vein-like lines of natural energy spread over the ground, touching each planted zilith. The ziliths reacted to the energy, rapidly growing into full-grown trees with multiple xyliths hanging from its branches. This surprised the Queen and the other Undine watching, along with the rest of the Winx. "Woohoo, that worked!" "Yeah!" exclaimed Flora, slapping Naruto on the back. Naruto tumbled forward into the ground. "Oops, sorry. I'm not used to the strength boost in this form yet." She moved to pull him up, but tripped and landed on top of him instead. "Flora, I think you might want to cancel Sage Mode now," said Naruto, groaning from cushioning her fall. His sage markings began to recede. Sorry," she said with a blush as her sage markings receded. "I have to thank you for teaching me, though." "No problem," replied Naruto with a grin. The Undine Queen then approached the duo. "You two have done us Undines a great service. As your reward, here is the cheerful gladiolus that you were searching for," she said, levitating a purple plant into Flora's hands. "Yay! Now I have everything ready for my midterm tomorrow," she said in happiness. "Also, guys, you don't have to worry about my plants anymore. I'll find a different location to put them." "Ugh, finally. Now we can get out of this icky swamp and back to the comfort of our dorm," Stella said in relief. Stella, you do know that your test is after mine, right?" said Flora, causing Stella to panic. "What, already? But I'm not ready yet," she said, distraught. The others began to laugh at Stella's misfortune. Flora's room, evening time. We now find Naruto with Flora, helping her go over her notes for her midterm. She had chosen to restore a barren environment. The other had decided to go to bed early. "Alright, it looks like you have all your preparations for your midterm set. I hope you pass with flying colors, Flora," said Naruto. He got up to leave, but was stopped by Flora grabbing his arm. "Is something wrong?" She stood up, a blush written all over her face. Taking a deep breath, Flora grabbed his face and pulled him into a searing kiss. Naruto froze for a second, before returning the kiss full force. They continued making out for a few minutes before Flora let go and began to take off his shirt. Hey! Whoa there! Flora, you're going a little fast there. Are you sure you want this?" asked Naruto. "I'm definitely sure. I'll be honest with you, I was kinda scared to confess to you. I mean, you have girls like Stella, who's a princess, with you. I'm just a shy girl from Linfia who's a nature nut," she said. "You know you're more than that. You're kind, sweet, beautiful, and the most caring person I've met," said Naruto, not wanting her to doubt herself. "And that right there is why I choose to confess and have this moment with you. You always find the good in others. Bloom and the other girls are lucky to have you. And I'm not against the whole sharing idea," she said with a blush, hugging him close. The next morning, Naruto woke up to both Musa and Flora still asleep with their heads on his shoulders and their arms wrapped around his. He could also feel his arms pressed against their breasts. Although he found this quite nice, he did need to get up, and the same for the girls. He leaned towards Flora and gave her a kiss on the mouth, which made her moan and open her mouth to return the kiss. Her eyes fluttered open and saw Naruto's blue eyes looking into her own jade green ones. Naruto pulled back and gave her a smile, saying, "Good morning, beautiful." She gave him a small smile, replying, "Morning, handsome. I hope that you wake me up some more like that in the future." She then sat up and stretched herself out. He then turned to Musa and woke her up the same way. When he pulled away, she moaned out, "No, don't stop kissing," as she opened her eyes to see an amused look on Naruto's and Flora's faces. "Sorry, Musa, but we need to get up now. And you girls have your midterm exams today, remember?" Naruto told her. She buried her face into his shoulder, mumbling out, "Don't want to stay with my handsome boyfriend in bed all day." Naruto shook his head as he got out of bed, which made Musa whine at him getting up. Flora was already getting dressed, finding this amusing to watch. "Come on, Musa, time to get up. And maybe Naruto could give you a reward if you do well on your exam," she said in an enticing tone. Musa quickly sat up, turned to Naruto, who was getting dressed, and asked, "Would you really?" as she gave him the puppy dog eyes. Naruto gave a shrug and replied, "Maybe. Do good on your exam, and we'll see." She gave a squeal, got out of the bed to give him a quick kiss on his cheek, took down the quieting spell, then ran off to her bedroom. Naruto and Flora gave a shake of their heads as they finished getting dressed before Naruto said to her that should help Musa get motivated for her exam, now that she knows she'll be rewarded for a good score. Flora merely shrugged with a sexy smile and kissed his other cheek, saying, "Whatever works, Naruto." She then walked out of her room, with a sexy sway of her hips for Naruto's viewing pleasure. Naruto gave a happy sigh with a smile on his face, thinking, "I love these girls so much," as he too walked out of Flora's room. Winx Cluster, the same time. All the other girls were already awake when they saw Musa running out of Flora's room naked and a happy smile on her face. She quickly said to them, "Morning, girls. Lovely morning, isn't it?" then ran into hers and Aisha's room to get dressed. The girls were all surprised at what they saw, with no one noticing the blush on Tekna's face. Their surprise grew when they saw Flora and Naruto walking out together, and a happy smile on Flora's face too. It didn't take long before Stella realized why Flora and Musa were both smiling and coming from the same room with Naruto. "So Flora, how was it?" said Stella to Flora. Flora smiled and blushed at being caught, and Tekna's blush increased as she remembered what she saw happening last night. "Best night of my life, and I look forward to more," she replied, kissing Naruto on the cheek. The rest of the girls, already part of Naruto's harem, were happy to have Flora and Musa being in the harem, and when Musa came back all dressed, the girls asked her what Naruto was like. And while they talked, Naruto stood there with a crimson look on his face and Kurama laughing his head off at what the girls were saying. Once they'd finished talking, the girls in the harem each gave him a kiss, which he returned, and they all walked off to get breakfast. Simulator room, 3 hours later. "Alright, ladies, the simulator has been fixed. So we'll be continuing with midterms today," Palladium said. "The students that still have to perform are Flora, Musa, Tekna, Priscilla, Hortensia, Luna, and Stella." "Ah man, I'm not sure if I'm ready for this," said Priscilla, nervous. "Yeah, same here," said Hortensia. "Don't worry, ladies. We have this exam in the bag," said Luna, in a confident voice. "Luna, the only reason you're prepared is because you're always studying," said Priscilla to the nerdy girl. "Well, I'm up. Wish me luck, guys," said Flora, grabbing her things. Naruto gave her a good luck kiss and she hopped into the simulator. "And your choice, Flora?" asked Palladium. "Restoring a barren environment and revoking the sadness brought on by a witch's magic," she replied from inside the monitor. Palladium nodded and typed into the computer what Flora wanted. 2 hours later. Class was almost over and most of the girls had already finished. It was now Stella's turn, but she was nowhere to be seen. Has anyone seen Stella? I hope she isn't trying to skip out on this exam, said Palladium. Oh, Stella said she wasn't feeling well. She went to the nurse's room, said Bloom, remembering that just now. Oh well, that's a shame. I hope she feels better. She has a lot of things to make up for this semester, he said. All right, ladies, class is dismissed for the day. Be sure to return here tomorrow for the last performance. The students nodded and began to exit the room. Hey guys, I'm going to check up on Stella. I'll meet you back at the dorm, Bloom said to the others. They nodded and split off. Winx Cluster, 30 minutes later. We find Naruto and Musa making out on the couch, with Musa sitting on his lap. Flora was in her room resting, while Roxy and Aisha were playing a game of chess. Tekna had left, saying that she needed to talk to Ms. Farragonda. Naruto and Musa separated, with her saying, "So about that reward?" She rubbed his chest in emphasis. "Oh, I was thinking maybe a date. How about we go see a movie and maybe hit up that music club again?" he said with a grin. "That sounds perfect," she replied, kissing him again. They heard the door open, revealing Bloom with a confused face. "Hey guys. So the funny thing is, it turns out Stella wasn't actually sick at all. She chose to skip class," she said. "Why though? That test wasn't even hard," said Roxy in a nonchalant tone. "She can't keep running away from her work. She's gonna end up failing," said Aisha, making her move on the board. "Checkmate." "Ugh," said Roxy. They all heard the door to Stella's room open up as she walked out. She looked really happy for some reason. "Ho! Stella, where have you been?" asked Naruto with a raised eyebrow, noticing that she was dressed fancy. He sniffed the air, picking up something. "And what's that smell?" "Oh, that is my new perfume. It's called Infinite Sunset. I've been getting ready for the event today," she said in an uppity tone. What event are you talking about?" asked Musa, curious. "Why, the Miss Magic's beauty contest, of course. I'm dead set on coming in first place this year," said Stella with a fire of determination. "Stella, what about your work? You could end up failing and getting kicked out again," asked Naruto. "Oh, don't worry, I'll study real hard afterward, promise. I could use some support though. Will you guys come and cheer me on?" asked Stella, using her puppy eyes. "Ugh, fine, we'll come. But you better study hard, okay?" said Bloom, giving her a stern look. The other nodded in agreement. Okay. Thank you guys," said Stella, giving them a cheerful smile. Naruto then got an idea, grinning and relaying it to Kurama. "So Kurama, what do you think?" His response was a deep laugh from Kurama. Hee. Brat, you're so evil. That's genius. This is going to be hilarious, Kurama thought back to him. Cloud Tower, at that same time. We find Lucy and Mirda sitting in their dorm room. Mirda is trying to convince Lucy not to ask the Tricks for help. "Come on, Mirda, the Tricks could totally help me win the Miss Magic's contest," she said, assuring her friend. "But Lucy, think about it. It's a beauty contest where magic is prohibited. You can't ask Icy, Darcy, and Stormy to help you with a trick. It's not right. It could even be dangerous," replied Mirda, warning her friend. "Icy, Darcy, and Stormy are so powerful they can do anything. For them, it'll be a no-brainer to turn me into a stunning beauty queen. Even if the real me could never win such a contest," said Lucy, still intent on asking for their help. "Lucy, come on, you don't even need this stupid contest," said Mirda, but those were the wrong words. "Stupid contest? Stupid contest. This is my chance at becoming more well-known amongst the population. You know what? I don't need your support. You obviously don't understand how important this is to me," shouted Lucy, storming out the room to find the Tricks. Mirda sat there, her head down in shame and disappointment at angering her friend and the mistake she was going to make. Miss Magic's contest, 4 hours later. As nighttime rolled in, the contest was getting ready to begin. In the crowd were Naruto and the girls, with the tricks a little distance away from them. Ugh, are we really helping this girl? Asked Stormy, having missed a date for this. Obviously not. Once she wins the contest, we'll take off the transformation, Icy told her with a cruel smirk. The announcer then came onto the stage saying, "Welcome everyone to this year's Miss Magic's beauty pageant. Tonight 11 beautiful young women will battle for the title. We all know the rules: no magic. All curses and spells are strictly prohibited and will lead to disqualification. This contest is a celebration of natural beauty. What could be more enchanting?" The crowd clapped in approval. Now here are our contestants. Number 1, Miss Loney. Number 2, Miss Heidi. Number 3, Miss Lesta. Number 4, Miss Agwin. Number 5, Miss Bera. Number 6, Miss Stella. Number 7, Miss Lehona. Number 8, Miss Karen. Number 9, Miss Subita. Number 10, Miss Lucy. Number 11, Miss Mito. All the contestants wore matching pink dresses and high heels. The crowd went wild at the reveal of Lucy and Mito. Lucy looks completely different with a stunning face and makeup, with beautiful green hair. Mito was a girl with blonde hair in the form of pigtails, blue eyes and tan skin. Naruto narrowed his eyes when Lucy's name was called. Kurama, I smell foul play. She looks drastically different, he thought through their link. Yeah. I also sensed the tricks in the crowd. They may be involved, so keep an eye out for them, Kurama thought back to him. Naruto mentally nodded. Backstage. Did you hear the audience's reaction when number 10 and 11 came out? I'll never win, said Stella, pouting. The group had joined her backstage. Stella, it's just a game, said Bloom, not understanding why Stella was being so childish. Yeah, but where's the fun if I don't win, she replied, still pouting. The door behind them opened up, with Mito and Lucy walking out. Hey, congratulations you two, the audience really loves you, said Bloom. Why, thank you. Also good luck to you, Stella, may the best one win, replied Mito with a smile, before walking away. Lucy huffed and walked away without replying. Naruto narrowed his eyes at that. Well, that was a rude way to react, said Bloom, offended. The contestants must also be polite and show some class, said Stella, a little ticked. Anyway, you guys should get back to the crowd. The talent round is coming up. The girls nodded, and wished her good luck, with Naruto giving her a kiss on the cheek. I'll catch up with you guys. I'm going to check something out, said Naruto, walking away from the group. He came up to Lucy's dressing room, knocking on the door. Come in, he heard her say. He opened up the door, walking in and closing it behind him. She turned to see who it was, but froze at the sight of Naruto. Naruto, what are you doing here? Oh, I don't know, checking on the girl who's wearing a face that isn't hers, he said accusingly. Lucy flinched at that, with Naruto saying to her, What do you think you're doing, Lucy? You know magic isn't allowed. Don't you ruin this for me, Naruto. I had to ask the tricks to help me with this. Winning this competition is important to me. Imagine how popular I'll be, pleaded Lucy, not wanting to lose her chance. You think this won't backfire on you? The tricks aren't known for doing things out of the goodness of their hearts, he shot back. But you know what? I'll let you learn from your own screw-up. He then walked out, slamming the door behind him. 1 hour later. The talent portion was on, though for some reason most of the contestants messed up. Naruto felt the tricks had something to do with it. Only Lucy's ballerina act went unhindered. Stella had just finished doing what she dubbed the happy dance, though it looks like someone tried to sabotage her. Thankfully, she was successful in her performance. Miss Stella, a few comments please? Asked the announcer. Stella nodded and spoke up. Irevmi, Elechilaspa. Huh! Her words came out as gibberish. Ha ha ha, of course, she can speak backwards. She just said absolutely, I'm very happy. We have here a truly gifted young woman, said the announcer, with the audience clapping and the winks cheering. Now on to our last act, Miss Mito, with the singing act. Mito came onto the stage dressed in a crimson dress, with crimson lipstick on. Her hair was worn down with one side of her face covered, giving her a mysterious look. She tapped the mic to test it, before beginning her song. Insert song, Legacy, by Kota Suzuki. Verse 1. When those voices deep within bring you down to your knees again, redemption calls on to all of those who persist with the strength of the few. Bridge. Don't come to question all that you've known. Remember, you are not alone. I will be here, standing beside you. Chorus. There is no mountain too tall to overcome. We will be as one. You will rise again. This is your legacy. Rise again. This is your legacy. Bridge. Don't come to question all that you've known. Remember, you are not alone. I will be here, standing beside you. Chorus. There is no mountain too tall to overcome. We will be as one. You will rise again. This is your legacy. Rise again. This is your legacy. Song end. There was a silence before the room was filled with applause. People were cheering and wooing, giving her a standing ovation. Even the Winx had to admit that she was really good. Miss Mito, everyone! Exclaimed the announcer, getting another round of applause. In the crowd, the Tricks were extremely frustrated by Mito's performance. Damn it, now our trick isn't going to work. That Mito girl is totally going to win, said Stormy, frustrated. We don't know that. Let's wait and see, said Icy, intent on seeing this through. Back on the stage, all the contestants had gathered to hear the announcing of the winner. Most of them looked disheveled and worn out. And now the moment we've all been waiting for. The coronation of this year's Miss Magics. But let's have a round of applause for all our contestants, said the announcer, getting another round of applause. He was then given an envelope with the results. You've all voted and here are the results. And this year's Miss Magics is Miss Lucy. Stella gasped, while the crowd went wild, cheering her on as the attendants put the crown and sash on her. Suddenly Lucy started convulsing, before turning back to her regular appearance. Seeing her true appearance, the crowd started laughing and booing her. Her crown and sash were taken. She began to tear up, running off the stage in embarrassment and shame. Naruto shook his head at this, before turning to the laughing Tricks. He flared a directed blast of killing intent, causing them to freeze and look at him. His eyes were blood red, letting them know that he knows they had something to do with this. He then turned back to the stage. As a result of Lucy's disqualification, the title of Miss Magics goes to Miss Mito, said the announcer, drawing a huge round of applause from the crowd. Stella again was shocked and upset she didn't win. The crown and sash were put on Mito, as she waved to the crowd. Any words, Miss Mito? The announcer asked, though he was confused when Mito started laughing. Hee, I'm sorry. Ha ha ha, please hold on. Ha 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 ha, hee ho 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 ho. She bellowed out, tears forming in her eyes. I'm so sorry, but it's so funny that I won. And why did you find it funny? Asked the confused announcer. Oh, because I'm not even a girl, said Mito like it was the most normal thing in the world. Awkward silence. What? Bellowed out the audience. Mito then exploded in a puff of smoke, which cleared away, revealing Naruto in all his glory. The Naruto in the crowd puffed, revealing a cackling Kurama. Wahahaha. Oh god, that was hilarious. I can't breath. Nice one, Naruto, shouted Kurama, trying to catch his breath. Ha 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 ha. You should see all your faces, said Naruto, laughing and rolling on the ground. What but huh? This is insulting. How can my own boyfriend be prettier than me? That's just not right, said Stella, confused and pouting. Yeah, thought all the other girls dating Naruto. Meanwhile, all the guys in the crowd were questioning their sexuality after that reveal. The tricks were speechless, with Icy blushing mad. Stormy then started laughing. Wahahaha, I'll give him that. That was hilarious, she said, losing her breath. Back on the stage, Naruto got a hold of himself and said, but jokes aside, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce to you the true Miss Magics. My girlfriend and princess of Solaria, Stella. He put the crown and sash on her, giving her a kiss on the cheek. The crowd bellowed out in woos and applause. Stella hugged Naruto tightly, jumping up and down in excitement and happiness from winning. Althea, 1 hour later. All the girls and Naruto arrived at the front of Althea. Naruto kissed his girls goodbye, but pulled Stella behind. Come to my house, Stella. We have stuff to do, said Naruto, picking her up in a princess carry and running across the lake to his house. He got to his front door, putting Stella down and opening the door. Oh, am I going to be spoiled? Fed some of you delightful cooking? Or maybe something more physical? She said in a sultry tone. She walked in expecting something romantic, but stopped at the sight of a pile of books and papers. What's this? Oh, this? This is all the work you have to make up, plus the review material for your midterm, he said, causing Stella to pale. Hey, I'm suddenly feeling really tired. I'm gonna go home, said Stella, nervously. She turned to leave but was stopped by a medium-sized Kurama sitting in front of the door. Nope, he said, shaking his head. Don't worry, I'll help you get through it. And you can eat my cooking while you're at it, said Naruto, putting a hand on her shoulder. You promised to study, right? Well, time to make do on that promise. Fine. Let's get this done. But I demand couch cuddles after, she said in a demanding tone. Why, of course, my future queen, said Naruto, bowing to her. The duo then got to work, pulling an all-nighter going through hordes of material. Simulator room, the next afternoon. All right, Stella, it's time for you to choose what you're doing for this exam, spoke Palladium to Stella, who was inside the simulator. Restoring a barren environment, Professor, she replied. Next to her were a bunch of materials and a bag for her assignment. Palladium punched in the settings, changing the area around Stella into a dry and broken landscape. All right, Stella, you may begin, he said, sitting back and watching the show. Stella got to work, planting a bunch of seeds in the ground, making sure to space them out. She watered them, using all the water she brought. She then gathered light in her hands, yelling, Radiant light! Bless these little seedlings with the solar nutrients they need to prosper. The sunlight in the simulation was amplified by her powers, shining down and accelerating the growth of the seeds. They began to rapidly sprout and grow in full-grown trees, dropping more seeds from their branches, which also grew into trees. This process continued until the entire landscape was covered with lush grass and strong green trees. Wahoo, I did it! Said Stella, jumping in happiness. She ran out of the simulator and to her friends. Guys, did you see that? I didn't mess up. Her friends congratulated her, while Naruto gave her a tight hug. Excellent job, Stella. And with all that work you've made up, you're back on track to excel to the next grade, said Palladium, praising her. And with that, we are finished with the midterms. I hope all you ladies enjoy the upcoming Thanksgiving break. Have a nice day. All the students began making their way out of the sim room and heading towards their dorms. What do you plan to do for Thanksgiving? Me and Roxy are going to go home for the break, asked Bloom. Me and Musa are gonna chill here in Magic's. Don't really have to feel like going home for break. Plus I owe Musa a date, said Naruto, with Musa nodding. I'm going back to check up on my parents, and do damage control. See some of my old friends back on Solaria, said Stella. I kinda miss my family, so I'm gonna head back to Andros, said Aisha, with a shrug. I think I'll head back home, and see how my little sister is doing on Lynphia, Flora told them. Yeah, I miss my parents as well, said Tekna. Well, okay. I hope you guys enjoy your break, said Bloom. The others nodded and made their way to their dorms to get ready to leave tomorrow. Naruto's house, the next morning. We find Naruto, Musa and Kurama enjoying a nice breakfast. Everyone else had already left for their home planets. Musa had opted to stay with Naruto for the duration of the break. I don't think I'll ever get tired of your cooking, Naruto said, Musa, happily eating away at the pancakes on her plate. She's right, brat. The girls snagged you at the right time. You'd make a great husband one day, said Kurama, devouring his sausages. Naruto blushed at the praise. Oh, stop, you're making me blush, he said bashfully. Do you ever think about it? Asked Musa. What do you mean? Asked Naruto with a raised eyebrow. Having kids? Starting a family, she replied. Naruto thought about it, before replying, I mean, yeah. I've been alone for most of my life. My parents left me the day I was born and no adult in the village wanted to raise the Kyuubi brat. I had to live on a stipend, in an apartment by myself. Growing up so alone, having a family of my own meant the world to me. He paused, eating some more, then continued. Loneliness can really get to you. I have a friend named Gaara, he's a Jinchuriki like me. He grew up feared and alone, even his own family was afraid of him. He eventually snapped, and went on to become a psycho murderer until I snapped him out of it. He's how I could have ended up if I didn't make the small amount of friends I have. So yeah, I want to have a family, and I'll make sure my kids don't suffer that loneliness. He had a fire in his eyes that burned with determination. Musa was touched by his passionate speech, getting up and sitting on his lap. She caressed his face, saying, well, you have family in us, Naruto. And I'm sure that it'll grow in the future with all the baby-making practice we've been getting in with this little guy. She rubbed his crotch, emphasizing what she wanted. You know what, how about we get some more practice in? I'm sure you're up for it. Naruto rapidly nodded, pulling Musa into a make-out session as they both began to strip. And that's my cue to leave. Enjoy yourselves, kids, said Kurama as he left through the front door, leaving the two lovebirds to themselves. Magic City, 2 hours later. We now find Naruto and Musa walking the streets of Magix for their date. Kurama had returned to the seal for a nap. The duo soon arrived at the movie theater, going inside and buying tickets for a movie of Musa's choice. We'll take 2 tickets for High School Musical 3, said Musa to the teller, who nodded. She turned to Naruto, saying, I really love the High School Musical series. It's too bad this is the last movie though. The teller gave them their tickets and then walked into the lobby. They grabbed some snacks and drinks. They made their way into the screening area, getting seats near the back, where the view was the best. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see how this ends, said Musa, bouncing in her seat a little. Naruto placed his hand on hers, getting her to calm down. The movie begins, with the room quiets down as the audience watches in suspense and interest. 2 hours later. We now find Musa and Naruto exiting the theater, content with the amazing movie they watched. Kurama had appeared during the movie, wanting to see what it was about. He was now being held in Musa's arms. That was a great ending to the series. It will truly hold a special place in my heart, said Musa, with a peaceful smile on her face. Meh, it was alright. Though I prefer something with more action, said Kurama, yawning. Naruto was happy that she enjoyed the movie. He then asked her, so are we hitting the music club next? Musa nodded, saying, yeah, I want to get my song on. Kurama, are you gonna join us in song? She was honestly interested in whether he could sing or not. I guess I can bless you mortals with my divine vocals, he replied, puffing his chest in pride. Naruto and Musa rolled their eyes, before heading towards the music bar. Music Club, 30 minutes later. Alright, Kurama, since your voice is so divine, why don't you go first? Said Musa, putting the mic in Kurama's little hands. Alright, watch and be amazed by mortals, he replied, picking the song he wanted to sing. He then put on a cowboy hat, seemingly pulling it out of nowhere. Insert song, Lil Nas X, Old Town Road Foot Billy Ray Cyrus. Oh. Yeah, I'm gonna take my horse to the Old Town Road. I'm gonna ride till I can no more. I'm gonna take my horse to the Old Town Road. I'm gonna ride till I can no more. Kyo. I got the horses in the back. Horse tack is attached. Hat is matte black. Got the boots that's black to match. Riding on a horse, huh? You can whip your Porsche. I been in the valley. You ain't been up off that porch, now. Can't nobody tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing. Can't nobody tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing. Riding on a tractor. Lean all in my bladder. Cheated on my baby. You can go and ask her. My life is a movie. Bull riding and boobies. Cowboy hat from Gucci. Wrangler on my booty. Can't nobody tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing. Can't nobody tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing. Yeah, I'm gonna take my horse to the Old Town Road. I'm gonna ride till I can no more. I'm gonna take my horse to the Old Town Road. I'm gonna ride till I can no more. Hat down, cross town, living like a rock star. Spent a lot of money on my brand new guitar. Baby's got a habit, diamond rings and Fendi sports bras. Riding down rodeo in my Maserati sports car. Got no stress, I've been through all that. I'm like a Marlboro man, so I kick on back. Wish I could roll on back to that Old Town Road. I wanna ride till I can no more. Yeah, I'm gonna take my horse to the Old Town Road. I'm gonna ride till I can no more. I'm gonna take my horse to the Old Town Road. I'm gonna ride till I can no more. Song end. Throughout the whole song, Kurama did a little cowboy dance to go along. Musa and Naruto were a little wide-eyed at the display, but overall impressed. Okay. Look at you, Mr. Hate and Destruction, doing something positive. Are you going soft on me? Said Naruto in a teasing tone. Musa giggled as Kurama huffed. Che, you wish I was soft, he replied. Alright then, my turn, said Naruto, grabbing the mic and choosing his song. Insert song, Down by Law English cover, Mark de Groot. Me and you won't give in to the bad times. Change the game, forced to do it all without you, I'll survive. I learned from you what I should do, it's keep the good in mind, gotta keep my wish in sight. And believe it too, I hope it ain't too much. It's to stay with you, sure enough. I'm believin', don't need a reason. All my doubts beaten. Cowardice in tow, time to break it off and let it go. No matter what, gotta keep your head up. It's yours and mine to decide, now it's time to go. We can make it. No one can stop this. There's a future in our hands, don't care what has come to pass. You're my family. And they'll never change our dream. We are down by law, till the stars are gone. Any battle in the way, we'll defeat it all the same. We are down by law, every time we fought. Victory is what I feel, woo, we do it for real. Yeah, everybody, time to break it down. Grow with the flow, show what you know. Spread your wings across, always good to take off. Riding high to the sky, even if I cry. Never losing with the crew, let's get it on. It's all for one, gather up your players. Head to head, show your finest flavor. Nothing left to fear, now my path is clear. Anything's enough to bless up, ASAP. If it's me and you, we never need to stop. Till we break on through to the top. Getting pumped for the biggest explosion. Burning hot emotion. Heart like a ticking bomb, light it up and set it off. Keep rolling, we're going all the way up. It's time to see places we've never seen before. We can make it. Into the new day. All the pain we give and take never changes how I feel. You're my family. And my love for you is real. We are down by law, and it's all because any problem, any harm, you take on with open arms. We are down by law, 'cause we stand as one. For the future that we feel, we will make it for real. We're at the goal, and they don't know how. Let's get it now. They still think we're gonna drop, yeah, show 'em we don't stop. We decide, in our mind and on the grind. That's what I'm talking about. It's yours and mine to decide, now it's time to go. We can make it. No one can stop this. There's a future in our hands, don't care what has come to pass. You're my family. And they'll never change our dream. We are down by law, till the stars are gone. Any battle in the way, we'll defeat it all the same. We are down by law, every time we fought. Victory is what I feel, will we do it for real? Song end. The other two clapped as Naruto finished, with Musa saying, seriously babe, that was awesome. You have such a great voice and I'm really happy that we have that in common. She then grabbed the mic looking for a song to sing. Anyways, now it's my turn to wow you all. Insert song, this game, Amelie. Like a child who keep on crying. Let the tears fall without holding back. I decide then and there, although it's unclear what awaits. I gaze up far away into the summer sky. You're always playing it cool while you refuse to show your tears. When really underneath you are afraid. You pray you never will lose all the things you're holding dear. You've been trying desperately to keep them safe. We've been through the worst of it, you and I. I look back on long and lonely nights. From this moment on, you don't need to hide away when you are afraid. Not anymore. Like a child who keep on crying. Let the tears fall without holding back. I decide then and there, although it's unclear what awaits. I gaze up far away into the summer sky. I willingly fell for their ruse with the words I longed to hear. They compelled the dark in me too easily. Though I swore I never would lose the one thing I'm holding dear. It is you, alone, that I had nearly lost. Always scared of believing in anything. I forgot what it felt like to cry. From this moment on, the wind is right by our side. It's holding us up high so we can fly. Like a child, I held you tightly. Let me near, holding your hand in mine. I decide then and there, although it's unclear what awaits. We gaze up and aim into the summer sky. We gaze up and race into the summer sky. In a world of vast horizons, it's so easy to feel you're alone. Let me hear every thought and worry in your heart. You may know. Like a child who keep on crying. Let the tears fall without holding back. I decide then and there, although it's unclear what awaits. I gaze up far away into the summer sky. I yell out today into the summer sky. Song end. Woohoo! Yeah, Musa! Shouted Naruto, clapping and cheering for the excellent performance. Kurama was bouncing from his seat, clapping as well. Musa, I must ask, what inspired you to take the path of a singer/musician? You never really talked about it, he asked, curious. Thinking about it, she replied, well, I was really inspired by my mother, since she was a great singer. I can still remember all her lullabies. Unfortunately, she couldn't make a lot of money with her singing. She ended up getting sick and eventually dying cause we couldn't afford paying for the medicine she needed. Some tears began to fall from her face, but Naruto wiped them away. After that, my father grew to dislike music, blaming it for my mother's death. When I said that I wanted to go into the music industry, he wasn't happy with my decision. Ever since then, our relationship has been strained. She took a moment to cry into his shoulder, getting emotional. That's stupid. He should be supporting you and your dreams. I know that your mother would be ecstatic to see you follow in her footsteps. If I ever meet you, Dad, me and him are gonna have words, he said with a pissed tone, shaking his fist. Musa looked at him for a moment before laughing. Ha ha ha. Thank you, Naruto, you really know how to cheer me up. But I want you to leave a good first impression when you meet my dad. He's gonna have to leave a good first with all the girls' parents, Kurama said, causing Naruto to freeze. Ah crap, you're right. Damn, how are we gonna explain our relationship to all of them? Said Naruto, freaking out. Kurama and Musa laughed, surprised that this was what caused him to worry. Don't worry about it for now. We'll handle it when it comes up. For now, let's just enjoy the rest of the day, said Musa, patting him on the back. He calmed down and nodded before all three of them left the music club. Naruto's house evening. We now find Musa in the kitchen cooking dinner for the trio. Kurama and Naruto were waiting patiently at the dinner table. Alright, just a little bit of oregano in there. Pasta a la Musa, said Musa, adding some final spices to the spaghetti. She then pulled out some plates, filling them out with pasta and placing them in front of the boys. This is my first time cooking, so go easy on the rating. She then sat down with her own plate. Itadakimasu. They all said, digging into Musa's meal. They all took a first bite, before finding themselves enamored by the taste. Kurama and Naruto began devouring the pasta, while Musa giggled at their antics. Slow down, guys, I know it's good, but you don't want to choke, she said, handing them water as they began to choke on their food. They quickly gulped it down, taking a break. Ha, sorry. It's really good for your first time, spoke Naruto with a smile. Indeed, I enjoyed this quite well. Thank the sage I have taste buds, added Kurama, licking his plate. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I think I'll add cooking to my hobbies, she said with a thoughtful look. She then looked at the clock, and seeing that it was getting late said, anyway, we should clean up and head to bed. Naruto nodded, collecting the dishes and washing them in the sink. 20 minutes later. We now find Naruto and Musa getting ready for bed. Naruto was combing Musa's hair, which she started wearing down. Kurama was laying on a small bed in the corner that Naruto bought for him. Alright, all done, said Naruto, putting the comb down. Thanks, babe, she replied, patting her hair a bit. Naruto nodded and the duo got under the covers of his bed. Good night, Musa, Kurama said Naruto, giving Musa a kiss on the head. The other two reciprocated the good night. Naruto pulled Musa close to him, holding her tight. They all soon drifted into unconsciousness. So this part ends here. Alright, that's it for today's video, guys. Let me know in the comment section how was the story, And also don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I will meet you in another video. Bye bye.